Hey folks, welcome to another evening with me, Kalu Aja, on our spaces. We call the money spaces. And out here we are talking, of course, money, the economy, and personal finance. How do the topics of the day affect your wallet? That's what we should talk about. This week I brought in a guest. He's not here yet. Obiaraeri Nnaemeka, that's his name. So once he's in here, I'll get him to hop in and introduce himself. But we have a lot to talk about. We've had the long holidays, so we've had a lot of things that have happened in between then. The CBN board, we've had the Ways and Means, we've had the CBN the investigator that was appointed by the president, to look into the affairs of all the banks. They've sacked a few bank boards. Should we say they've nationalized a few banks as well? We have the Dangote refinery starting. We have a lot going on to talk about. So I want to just talk with him to get his view on all this. A very, very erudite guy that I respect a lot, and I think he brings a lot to the table. I wish he was here so we could just get started, because I know lots of people would have a lot of questions. He was also here last week, and a few folks want him to bring him back on a special. So bring him back so we could talk more about the plan that he talked with us last week to do with investment in the agricultural space. For January, I'm trying to do this topic around where should you invest. I'm doing, if you had money, where would you invest? The whole idea, of course, being that we have lots of options in Nigeria, but we have high inflation. I think the actual term is stagflation, which is high inflation, high unemployment. The economy is not, should we say, it's not where we would want it to be. The dollar exchange rate to naira, the spread has widened, right? So cost of living in Nigeria has also gone up. Wages have not kept pace with that. There's insecurity, there's low power supply. So there's a lot of things to say this is what's going wrong in Nigeria, right? But usually if you understand economics, you understand that it's when things are really, really bad, when there's blood in the street, that's when there are opportunities for folks to actually make money. And that's the whole idea, that there's always, always, always an opportunity for people to make money in the country, even in Nigeria. And that's the theme that we've been speaking about. Last week, we had the guy from the stock market, Ebo, tell us about how to build out a portfolio that would sort of insulate you from inflation and allow you to grow even in Nigeria. So if you weren't here last week, make sure you get a copy of the audio and listen to it. It was very, very packed. And he did give us lots of insight. So let me, since I guess it's not here, I can run it. We can have this open floor that we always do. Let me run a few things down, you guys, that have been going on in Nigeria, maybe just joining in, just to bring you up to speed. First of all, the Ways and Means, just to step back a bit. The last administration printed or had an overdraft, Ways and Means, which is they borrowed from the Central Bank of Nigeria about 23 trillion. That's a low number. 23 trillion is more than that. And as they were leaving office, they got the National Assembly to pass bonds. And those bonds more or less sort of captured that illegality, because the borrowing and the printing was illegal. They can only borrow 5%. So now they got the National Assembly to pass a bill that allowed them to convert those illegal borrowings into bonds, to make it legal, and of course then attach a cost to the government, right? So they securitize. Last month, I think this month, we now had the president ask for an extra seven. I don't know how much is this. He asked for an extra amount to be securitized as well, which means he's also going to do the exact same thing the past administration did. He's also going to borrow from the Central Bank of Nigeria, but in this case, he's doing it legally, because he's saying the Central Bank can borrow him 5% or is it 15% according to their rules. So that's what we were last week, right? So we're back to this excessive borrowing to fund the budget. The budget is going to be funded wholly by independent revenues, which means it's not even going to be funded by oil sales. If you look at the budget carefully, it's not going to be funded by oil sales. It's going to be funded by independent revenues. And we're back to that in Nigeria, as it were. We also had the CBN board is gone. They have been investigated to say, hey, why did you guys allow the past governor to print all that money? And that's where we were last week, that there's heat on the board. There's heat. Obviously, he's still in jail or is under detention. The past CBN governor over his printing. And right now we're borrowing the same amount of money down the line. So essentially, that's where we find ourselves. So he's just joining now. Leslie, what's on your mind before my guest joins him? Leslie, go ahead. Let me just grab you real quick.
Yeah, thanks so much, Carlo, for this space. It's an insightful space. In fact, if one missed this space, you just feel you've missed a lot.
Thank you.
In terms of updates. So keep it up. Now, I just want to comment by starting with why we are in this position. You know, so much under the last administration, they tend to have mortgaged the future of Nigeria and has put us in an excessive debt.
Yeah, that's the
I doubt if there is anything we can do in the short term now that can actually reduce the level of inflation. You know, and the CBN wager means that we got ourselves into in the last administration. I was thinking that when this administration comes on board, there's going to be a reduction in such, kind of executive involvement in the affairs of the CBN. You know, fundamentally, there is a demarcation between the monetary policy and the fiscal policy authority. But the overbearing influence of the government, federal government or the central bank, has made it really difficult for whoever is appointed at any time to be, exonerated in this kind of situation or economic quagmire we have found ourselves. So it's an institutional issue that needs to be fundamentally resolved. Now, on the area of inflation, the inflation, chunk of the inflation is, on the food and supply, foodstuff and all of that. And even when you think, okay, this is harvest period, I sent a friend of mine to make an inquiry into how much they sell bushels of rice. Just imagine, right inside the farm, 3 bags of rice goes for 143,000. Right inside the farm, in the heart of harvest period. Now, and the harvest period will not last because our farm products are not usually a large quantity given our mode of production. Now, and the government has pretentiously made us believe that the budget, will go well. I don't know if there is a way to get blood from somebody who is anemic. The economy is anemic, and the basic source of revenue is going to be from, the crude oil sales. And the last administration even went ahead to do a crude oil deal that pushed like a transaction, a 3 years upfront transaction, meaning that the more we produce, the more we use in servicing the agreement that the last administration, entered. That, for me, what a lot of people don't even know is a bigger issue that will affect the implementation of the budget.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Leslie, I hear you. It's like you said, Leslie. We've gotten ourselves into like a spiral that we might not be able to get out of easily, because if we have borrowed 23 trillion, that puts a weight on whoever is the next president, right? The next president has to counter that it on your balance sheet. So that's why we're bringing in people like Dr. Obiaraeri to basically come in and talk to us. I want to just talk to him top down, go from the economy, what's happening with the Nigerian economy. I want to ask him about the Nigerian economy. Then I want to ask him about, okay, what are the opportunities in this economy for a guy, that's someone that is just essentially listening in and wants to know where to invest money. So I have him here, my good friend Nnaemeka Obiaraeri. Please unmute. I want you to introduce yourself, who you are, so as folks who know who you are, then of course we can then start to ask you those questions. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good evening, gents and ladies. I am Nnaemeka Obiaraeri. I'm an investment banking executive, oil trader, and farmer. And I have over 24 years postgraduate experience as an investment banker. Having traversed over 9 top financial institutions in Nigeria, and participated directly and actively in capital raising of over $3 billion into Nigeria and other sub-Saharan African spaces. I currently run a boutique investment bank known as Taros Capital and sit on the board of the holding company, the Taros Holding. We have vast interest in oil and gas and luxury goods, real estate, and then our flagship is the investment banking business and the oil and gas business. We have one of the biggest petroleum depot in the whole of the Cocoa axis, and we are also into lubricant production. And like I said, I have advised governments, both within and outside Nigeria, participated actively on the privatization program of the federal government of Nigeria, both on the buy and the sell side, act as a representative to some of the biggest hedge funds outside Nigeria. Basically, what we do for them is to provide guidance for their investment forays into sub-Saharan Africa. We provide them what we call due diligence, both on the technical, financial, and the legal side. We bring in parties to help them look at where the investment opportunities are in Africa and how they can play within this space in order not to get their fingers burnt. Some of these funds, like I made people to understand, we have over $10 trillion out there, funds that are not within the formal financial space, family companies and other sources that are looking to where they can play to provide good returns while ensuring security of their funds. Our foray into agric was in 2006. I've participated in funding some major agric projects. I was part of the team that did Fadama, the Israeli intervention in the north. I also work with a group known as Elsmed Israel. Elsmed Israel is one of the biggest dairy producers in kibbutz in Israel. So basically, we're looking at opportunities on the agri sector, which motivated us to, okay, let us even play as local players, because you cannot just bring people to come in. In fact, one of the things that stimulated our discussion with them was when these issues of herders farmers clash got to a crescendo, when people were talking about grazing route or non-grazing route. Those guys, we got talking to them and we discovered that even the level of dairy production in Nigeria is nothing compared to what happens in Israel, where cows are kept in air-conditioned environment and where yield per cow of milk per annum moves from about 20 to 60 liters, on an average, whereas in Nigeria, it's very, very low. So we talked about how we can work with them to set up dairy centers with the Southeast in focus. Imo was our actual focus. Our plan was to work with the most people know that the third biggest rancher in Nigeria is an Imo man, G National Ranch. Our plan then was to work with them. His plant was in his shop was in Derrick, Changrai area in Kano before he moved to Shagamu now because of the issues of rising security in the north then. So our plan then was to work with them, set up dairy centers across the 3 zones in Imo State. Started out with about 5,000 breeding cows in every of the zones. The plan was in the next 5 years from that time to take care of all the meat and the dairy needs of those that live within the Southeast region. So in 2006, we set up what we know as Southeast Farms and Agricultural Processing Company Limited. Our desire, our vision was to intervene in a space where the states and local government area were supposed to provide direction, and which they failed to do. Our strongest motivation was looking at what Dr. Michael Obiaraeri did in 6 years. For most of us who do not understand, the most profitable company in the Nigeria Stock Exchange that have consistently paid dividend over the last 21 years, non-break, is Okomu and Presco. And Okomu and Presco, what do? They are into the palm oil space. Go and look at their turnover. Go and look at what they've done. And interestingly, both Okomu and Presco palm plantation that they inherited under the privatization arrangement was built by Obasanjo and Gowon between 1972 to 1979. In fact, the other palm in Owerri, in Imo State or Haji, was built by the federal government of Nigeria under Gowon. The only agro project and park that we have built that was not by the military was the one that Michael Obiaraeri did. The one they call the Ere settlement that crisscrossed Abia, Ebonyi, and the current Akwa Ibom state. It's still standing there. It's a 4,300 hectares of palm estate. Those that lived then, I met an old man that told me so that the place used to have schools. If you go there, you still see the old concrete roads that they did there. That there used to be schools there, hospitals there. That sometimes, that there was a time he stayed in a settlement for 1 year without going outside that place. Everything they needed was there. That was the kind of vision. Even the ones in our Hambele, they were done by Michael, but that was the kind of vision the guy had. And it was no skyrocket science. You looked at the numbers, you will see clearly that we have visionless people who are not ready to work, and so we decided to go into it.
But Doc,
because at 1965, Michael Obiaraeri driving the Eastern economy working with the Western economy, because they were actually the Palm Belt. They were controlling 45% of the global crude palm oil market then. That market today is sized and valued at over $72 billion, controlled 85% by Indonesia and Malaysia. If Nigeria had maintained control of that sector, the same 45%, today we'll be exporting nothing less than $38 billion worth of crude palm oil, which is even more lucrative than the fossil fuel. The Malaysians and Indonesians came here 80 years ago, picked our seedlings and modified it. Today, we talk about the Malaysian Tenera and the Super Gene and all the Dura species. They were modification of what they took from here in Nigeria through research and development.
And Doc, I want to, because I know you are packed and you have a lot to deliver. I want to moderate you so that we can capture the best from you, right? Again, just to cap what you're saying, I thought that story was urban myth that the Indonesians came here to take our palm. I did my research, and it's true. They actually came here. The palm was brought from Brazil to Nigeria. It grew, and then the Dutch came from India. Back then, it was the Dutch Indies. They came to Nigeria and took the palm seedlings to Malaysia and Indonesia, which then were not a country, and it has grown. And today, the palm oil from Indonesia makes more dollar revenues than the crude oil from Nigeria. I mean, it's telling.
Yes.
But Doc, I want to take you up on take what I look at Nigerian economy. Let's say I'm an investor. I see inflation. I see 200 million market. I see insecurity, but I see oil and gas. I see this country has got gold. They have clean water in the streams, freshwater streams. They have vegetation, arable land. You throw mango on the floor, it grows. There is no earthquake, no natural disaster. There is no mineral, not in Nigeria. Columbite, tin, gold, uranium. I see all this. Why has Nigeria not gone from what I see to wealth creation? Why are Nigerians today at the same level of wealth, that's per capita wealth, as they were in the 1960s? Why is this so?
Okay, Carlo, the issue we have is a structural issue that has to do with the deformities in the foundation of Nigeria. Like I always say, there is no country that is as blessed as Nigeria in terms of natural resources. This is the only country in the whole world where you have the right combination of rainfall, sunshine, and have the highest form of water tributaries across the land in Nigeria that can easily allow you to do irrigation. I'll give you an example. Egypt is 95% desert. Egypt is only depending on the Nile to operate and to irrigate most of their dry land. Yet, if you look at the numbers Egypt is churning out, it will amaze you what Egypt is doing. In terms of rice production, look at the example. I'm coming to answer your question. Look at the example, the issue of rice. For 8 years, Buhari and his goons kept on playing politics by closing the border, whereas they were still smuggling the rice from Niger and other places. For 80 years, we wasted our time playing politics. CBN wasted 1.2 trillion naira doing rice intervention. As of today, we consume about 7.5 million tons of rice, but what we produce is less than 4 million tons. And you begin to ask, what is the skyrocket science in rice production? Rice is one food crop that you can cultivate 3 times in a year. In fact, minimum 2 times in a year. Because the life cycle is about 150 to 180 days. Interestingly, we've heard stories of people that did rice farms that were over-flooded. Flooding came in. And why did flooding come in? Flooding came in because we refused to dredge our waterways, we refused to desilt, and we refused to do shoreline embankment. There is no river in Nigeria today, both Niger and Benue, that is as that has the kind of depth and currency as the Nile. Yet, even Egypt stays on a more how will I call it, in a lower landscape than Nigeria. Yet you hardly hear the issue of flooding in those areas because they took out time to they desilt, they dredge, and they do shoreline embankment for all their settlements where they did irrigation. So look at Nigeria. To cover the supply gap of rice in Nigeria, we only take 1 year. 1 year.
1 year?
1 year. 1 year. You don't even need more than 1 year. 1 year. 1 year of scientific integration, working together between the federal government and the state government. What do we need to cultivate? We just need to, out of the 64 million hectares of arable land mass in Nigeria, we need less than 1 million hectares to cultivate. We have clusters of land where we have the rice belt from Ebonyi to Abia to Enugu to Anambra, even part of Imo State like Etiti, Hituboma, they are all rice belts. What we need to do? Very simple. We have a demographic arrangement that even allows us to do these things. 8,809 electoral wards. Remember, there was a time the federal government muted the idea of importing 10,000 tractors through the Federal Ministry of Finance. They wanted to borrow $1.2 billion to do it. And it was a very simple. I said, okay, why do you want to go and buy tractors? If you go to any Ministry of Agriculture in Nigeria today, you will see abandoned tractors that were purchased through the same shabby arrangement. I said, okay. Because let me tell you, Carlo, one of the problems we have is the structure. And the structure is what breeds insecurity. And because of insecurity, many people that have ideas of what to do cannot go into it. Now, how do you bridge this gap? Out of the 8,809 electoral wards, look at the rice belts. Pick out clusters. It can be clusters of 40 hectares. Clusters of 50 hectares, clusters of 100 hectares. Government does not need to even bring money. There are existing rice farmers. Attach to them extension officers. You can bring, a cluster of about 140 hectares each, which is about 4,000 hectares of land. Attach each cluster basic bulldozer to enable them to clear and stump. Basic tractor to enable them to reach and to harrow. Basic grader to enable them to do the internal agric route, to enable them evacuate things. And then harvesters and irrigation equipment and do massive borehole for them to enable them irrigate. You can even solar power it. And then in this cluster of 3,500 or 400 hectares, that has, because if you have this equipment, they can easily cultivate this land at even a cheaper cost of about 40,000 naira per hectare. And this equipment will be managed under a private partnership. The person who is going to manage this equipment will be collecting rentals from them. So it's not a case of government. If it spoils, he will pay. And over time, he will repay the money used to buy this equipment because there are off-takers for that equipment, and the off-takers need the equipment to make their agric mechanized. Provide them with the rice seedlings, the Geri species that Egypt is using, which has demonstrated under the federal program to grow so much in Nigeria. it does about 9 tons per hectare. Carlo, most of the rice mills in Nigeria that are the small cottage ones, 10 tons, 15 tons, are actually fabricated here in Nigeria. The only thing that are imported are actually most of the motors. We can set up cottage processing factories, even the stoners here that can process. Carlo, in a year, cultivating 500,000 hectares of new land under such clusters, setting up cottage factories under such arrangement, that is private sector driven. Government providing a kind of a commodity board that does take or pay guarantees, just like we had the produce board of the Eastern Nigeria, produce board of the Western Nigeria. Carlo, in 1 year, we will produce enough rice to cover the supply gap in Nigeria. And do you know why this cluster is very important? In that cluster of 4,000 hectares, you will have agro rangers attached to them. Even if the agro rangers are using pump action rifle, 25 of them in every cluster or 50 of them in every cluster, the payment of those agro rangers will come from the proceeds of the cluster.
So that's security you're talking about now.
Security, not paid by government. Security that is living there. There's a shelter for them where they live. They patrol the clusters 24/7. They have drones. Carlo, we've done the numbers on this. But what is just needed is not the federal government. It's the state government and the local government. They control the land. Providing the regulation, the incentive. That is what LS is trying to do in Niger State. The bill that will set up the commodity board is almost waiting. It's being drafted. Every local government area will have their own. You set these guys up in cooperatives. Whatever you produce is purchased. It will shock you to note that do you know that in Imo State today, most people don't know, we have 6,000 hectares of latex rubber plantation lying waste in Ihe. The latex rubber industry is a $25 billion industry. Taiwan controls almost about 10%, 20% of that market. From that Ihe rubber plantation, a hectare of rubber plantation produces about 2,190 kg of wet rubber and 897 kg of dry rubber. A ton of dry rubber is today selling for $1,400. From that plantation alone, Imo State government can make at least $6 million annually, employing 6,000 youths. So we gave them yes?
Doctor, why are the states not doing this? Because you said it's not the federal, it's the states. So are you saying all 36 states do not know what you're saying? That all through Buhari years, same party, they don't know what you're saying?
Carlo, they know. But they know. Let me check. Carlo, are you aware? Go and check. Why do you think that we have CBN gave out 1.2 trillion? Today, 600 billion is in the hole. Those who collected the money have died the money. They were not farmers. The real farmers did not get most of those funds. And even those who got those funds, half of the money was taken by agents. Because it is something that was done, up there. The same thing with the social intervention scheme. They will tell a senator to go and compile names. You go and compile names of those who are party loyalists, who are not even those who require the money. It will shock you. In Niger State today, there are many doctors that have left who are still collecting salaries, who have passes. That is the kind of thing we have in Nigeria. So basically, why the states are not doing this and local government areas are not looking inward? And that also comes back to the structural deformities and the politics there. Because we run a Babiyala physical republic where the powers are so concentrated at the center. So everybody's after collect fact, collect jack, share the money. After all, the parameters for sharing the money from crude oil is population and land size. It is not by what you contribute. If we had a physical arrangement like we had in 1960-96, where regions, whatever you produce, keep 50 for yourself.
bring 30 to the center for others who are less privileged, the beggars who don't want to work, to take share, and then give 20 to the federal government. People will be motivated now to look inward, because it is what you bake that you will chop. You will not fold your arms and then cook up your population and land mass and wait for the crude oil from Nigeria to come and feed you. That is why we are where we are today. That is why, like you rightly pointed out, we have experienced stunted growth from 1970 till now. Go and check. The only time we had veritable, provable growth was between 1960 to 1966. In fact, it was on record that the economy of the old Eastern Nigeria was the fastest growing in the whole of the Commonwealth, growing at the rate of 9% per annum. The Eastern Police was so efficient and more professional than the Federal Police. And then when the UN wanted to make peace in Congo Democratic Republic, they solicited for Michael Obara to release some of his officers. So there was no, you see, this idea of politicians being united in criminality just because of what they will share and what they will eat. Okay, look at the example. The money that they were shared to senators and House of Rep for them to go and buy rice. Senators we had got 200 million. House of Rep got 100 million. If you aggregate the money these guys collected, which some of them used to buy a bag of rice that people have already eaten and already shitted out, it's about 57 billion naira. Carlo, if you hand 57 billion naira over to me now, I will create 38,000 hectares of new Tenera palm plantation in the south, or 38,000 hectares of new date palm plantation in any part of the north, in clusters of 40 hectares each. Carlo, I will create 190,000 jobs with that money. And each of those clusters, whether in the north or in the east, can easily generate about 1.6 trillion naira annually over the next 70 years after 5 years of gestation period.
So, Doc, you say is it, just to be clear, is it because of the fiscal allocation whereby states can get money from oil by just having population? Is that why they have abandoned the wealth in agriculture? Because that's what I believe. I believe that the pyramids in the north, the granite pyramids in the north disappeared not because of the oil per se, but because they took away the state's ability to get the income tax from the groundnut farmers in Kano. States could do only tax payee. They only tax payroll. They don't tax income. So is that what you are...
They took away the incentives. The incentives for people to look inward. See, the average man, let me tell you, the average human being always have the tendency to just leisure and enjoy if there is no pressure there. Can you close your eyes and imagine where we say, okay, today we have engineered the physical regime in Nigeria, the resource production and control architecture to be like what we used to have in 1966, where we say, okay, whatever you collect in your state, keep 50. Pay tax to the central port to be shared by others, and then give federal government 20%, and then reduce the responsibilities from port to aviation to road to agric to the regions and units. You know what will happen? If the man in Bayelsa and Delta and Rivers will sell their oil and they keep 50% for themselves, and the man in Niger State is no longer getting as much as he used to get, the man will look inward to see how he will develop his state. If the man in Lagos State is collecting all the VAT, the man will put incentive in place to attract more businesses in their state. What will happen? This one, you have a Kano man doing his bar, where he will be breaking people's bottle. You will see his bar will disappear. The man will want many other businesses to come and set up in his company, in his country, or in his state, so that he can generate enough revenue to take care of his people. Are you aware that even in the UAE, I went to UAE one day. There was a time I used to travel every quarter. I was representing Nasiba then. We used to go to conferences. I lodged into one hotel. They wouldn't ban you from taking. There's designated areas for alcohol. I opened the fridge, but they have incentive of things they would do to discourage you from drinking alcohol. I opened the fridge. I saw a touch of Hennessy. Marked on that touch was $80.
$80 for Hennessy.
$80 one touch. His entity was telling you, if you want to satisfy your leisure of drinking, now you must pay.
I see where you're going with this. So
the right environment. So if there is competition where people are now forced to produce and bake what they eat and feed their children to eat, all this religious politics, all this nonsense you see in Nigeria, all this security will disappear.
Let me ask you, if you were an investor, right? If you're a long-term investor, does Nigeria look like a good investment destination for you? I mean, if you look at it clear-eyed, you're not looking at would you put money in Nigeria?
Carlo, there is no country in the whole world that takes the right bosses like Nigeria. I give you an example. I met a group in Oman, from Oman in Dubai. The guy I met was the third generation. The guy was bragging and telling me how his great-grandfathers came to Oman. He's an Indian from India. The man came with about $400,000 there, maybe $4,000. And the man has grown the wealth to about $40 million. And he was so excited. And were they doing? They were drilling boreholes, producing water for people. What were they doing? They come to areas, maybe clusters of cities, communities like an estate. They will provide them with water and everything, and the people will be paid. Just like providing utility. They also do bottled water. The man was sounding so excited, and I laughed. And I asked myself, have you heard about the TIG group? About TGI? He said yes. I said, they are Indians. He said yes. I said, these guys were in other places, but they came into Nigeria. That was when they blew. From an investment of about $500,000, 22 years after, they sold 55% of it to Coca-Cola for $550 million. The man was dazed. I told him, I said, the kind of opportunities in Nigeria, I said, this thing you was talking about, you provided water for estates, you sold bottled water, and you made $40 million, you created $40 million in over 60 years. I said, have you heard about Aliko Dangote? He said yes. I said, Aliko was worth $80 million as at 2000. Today, where do you think the money came from? I think from Nigeria. The opportunities are here, Carlo. We have the numbers, we have the natural incentives. But the major problem we have here, Carlo, is the insecurity, which is because, and the corruption, and which is one of the story. Can I give you an example? I sold my property in Lekki Phase 1. A property the bank funded for me with 72 million. I paid for that property for over 13 years. I decided this is my agric project. That was where all the monies went. From other monies I got from other investors, about 328 million. Carlo, we helped the government to survey their land. I guess the government is still owing me about 9.5 million today. The money I gave them to survey the land. Carlo, we got CFO. Carlo, we bought bulldozer, D8 bulldozer. We brought in 2 people from horticulture, professionals. We hired them to come and work with us. What was our plan, Carlo? We had 850 hectares of land with CFO. Our plan was every year we will cultivate new 50 to 100 hectares of new palm plantation, 10 hectares of pineapple plantation, 10 hectares of the Cavendish banana. Carlo, we started. We cleared almost 100 hectares of land. It was very expensive. We prefabricated a factory that we do about 20,000 liters of palm oil every day. We set up that plant. Everything was ready. One night, bandits from Edda, not Fulani bandits, bandits from Edda. I'm telling you, what is Edda Afibo? I didn't know that the land in question was in dispute between Abia State, Omporo, and them. They used acid and burnt the whole farmland. And they destroyed our bulldozer. My managers were lucky to escape. After that experience, We went to the state. The arrangement was the state will provide security. The state did not provide security. We went to Ohafia where they have military with the help of the state deputy governor, who is from that community, to get us military men that will be staying there. We were paying average of 1.3 million every month to provide our own security. Does that make sense for an investor that is coming to a state to provide investment? After 1 month, the military guys left after they were threatened.
The military guys were threatened.
Yes, they left. We brought the civil defense. The civil defense report that we are disarmed by the bandits. Then, finally, we brought the Bakassi boys, the Alga State Vigilante. That was when we had respite. The Bakassi guys stayed for 2 months. From the 2 months, after the second month, the state stopped paying them. And the payment became our responsibility. After about 2 years of wasting investors 328 million naira, the factory burnt down. I advised myself that we cannot continue until we have a government that is willing to provide security for us to go into that place. If we have security in that place, Kalu, today we will have been producing nothing less than 1.5 billion naira worth of products in that community.
Question for you. Did you make an effort to do maybe host community fund to give the community guys some equity to bring them in? Was that on the table?
Carlo, we had an arrangement. Listen, to be paying the community outside the government, to be giving them 10% of every profit we make in that place. And they were part of our regime. We employed most of them. They knew everything. We were very transparent with them. The state government, through the PPP office, owned 10% of the business. It was a very, let me tell you, the guy that even helped to structure it was a former GM in FCMB, a former director, executive director in Digio. In fact, the guy is the one who runs Cameroon Brewery now, the national brewery oil of Cameroon, brewery company of Cameroon. Austin Ofamba. Austin is one of the most honest professionals I've ever seen. He worked for Abia State government for 4 years without collecting salary. The guy sacrificed his career for 4 years to help develop his state. At a time, the guy was so angry. He was even advising me to sue the state and embarrass the state. I told him no. Austin today is the MD of Cameroon Breweries, the largest national brewery in Cameroon. Very sincere, very top guy.
Okay.
So, what are we talking? If my mother is from Arochukwu in Abia State, I schooled at Abia State University. I have a lot of friends in Abia State. If I, a son of the soil, a local boy, could have this kind of experience, can you tell me how you will convince a Malaysian or an Indian? Okay, can you do? I want to explain. There was an Indian company that went to Okwangwa to go and set up a cassava processing factory. These guys have spent over 170 million, cleared over 100 hectares of land. The day they were supposed to start work, the community came to harass them. Those guys went back, and never came back again.
So, I mean,
how do you explain this kind of madness in a country where there is so much lawlessness?
So, in effect, the people are trying to pay themselves. The community is trying to pay themselves because they do not believe that the wealth generated will come to them. That's what I see.
Carlo, there are greedy elements in every community.
Because it looks like the template of the Niger Delta, where the oil companies have failed to invest in local communities, and then local communities then took up quote unquote arms to get their own equity, and it has worked for them. So it looks like Nigeria is defaulting to where the indigenes that own the land basically demand for equity upfront. Deve levy. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And if
Carlo, that one is not a problem. Any business that, if even Okomu and Presco are having the same issue, but they've managed to overcome the storm. The major challenge here is the issue of that even the community that attack the farm, Carlo, do you know that in our magnanimity, when people are telling us shoot them, do this, we know the boys. I told them no. You don't solve a problem using, because one thing I discovered about violence begets violence. If you shoot down one person, the other people will come for revenge. Do you know that we arranged our team to go to their communities? To guys, I told them, I said, okay, let us even ignore this 850 hectares. Do you have your own 850 hectares in your community? We will leave this one and come and develop your own community. They said no. Do you know what they were doing? They were still looking at the old plantation that was doing about 1 ton per hectare. Their eyes were so blinded by the little pittance they were getting that they didn't see the big picture. So when we talk about leadership, failure of leadership, even at the grassroots, if we have a working local government system where you have an autonomous local government chairman and councillors, like we had then in the early 60s, provinces, where there is so much autonomy, they can control their communities. But today, what we have is one lord in state government house appointing riffraffs as local government chairman, those that will collect the jack, keep 1% and return 99% to them. And we continue in this kind of arrangement. Nigeria is not a place that is barren. Nigeria is a land that is flowing with milk and honey. But the problem we have, Carlo, is the problem of leadership, quality leadership at all levels.
I hear you. Doctor,
it's a challenge.
I hear you. So I think we've spent about 45 minutes with you. We've talked about the ups and downs, your own personal experiences, how you've brought investors and you've been bamboozled. You've said that Nigeria is a good investment climate. There are folks listening to this space that want to take notes where they should invest in. Let's assume a guy here listening has got ₦1 million. It's not a lot of money, but it's 1 million naira. And he wants to go into business in this land of milk and honey, whether it's in a rural area, whether it's in the town. As an investment professional with 1 million naira, how would you advise this year? If someone walked into your office, a young lady walked into your office, I have ₦1 million naira, I'd like to invest. I'm not just in taking my monies in the next 2 years. I'd like to invest for at least 3 years. What would be your, should we say, advice? And again, I know this is educational. We're not just disclaimers here. This is all educational. This is not an invitation to buy or sell. Investment is very risky. Consult your financial advisor. So, what would you advise this young person? 1 million naira, I want to invest in Nigeria. What would you say?
Carlo, they should come to Abia State.
Only Abia State? Only Abia State?
Carlo, let me tell you. No, Carlo, you wanted, a man that lost 328 million with his group, right?
Yeah.
In Abia State and Imo State over a period of 6 years. He is now asking people to come to Abia State. Ask me why.
Why?
Why? Because what we have now is a different ballgame. Now, in Abia now today, Carlos, security is number one. The same on Hafia, where those bandits were. As I'm talking to you now, the first thing the LSOT did was to dismantle the center of kidnapping and banditry in Abia State and Imo State, which is that Law Banta cattle market. That is number one, dislodgement. Number two, now there is an arrangement now being put in place to empower the mayors. Abia State has one of the best thriving vigilante groups, but they were underfunded under the last government. They were rendered useless under the last government. But under the current arrangement, LXOT as governor has empowered the mayors to revive that arrangement at the local government level. Now, you ask me where will I put my 1 million? Like now, we are back. The first thing we did was that we decided to go into clustered seedlings production. You are asking me where the money will come in 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. We are doing seedlings now. And what are those seedlings for? Like I told you, Abia is one state. For whatever reason, God has blessed them naturally. Cocoa grows so well in Abia State. Cashew grows so well in Abia State. The palm grows so well in Abia State. Most of the cash crops grow so well in Abia State. So, for now, they are also setting up commodity boards at every of the local government areas. The state's own draft is almost being fleshed up. It will be ready very, very soon. Basically, what we are doing on our own. This is not an invitation for anybody. I'm just advising you on what you can do. If you have friends or people you can trust within those areas, we are doing our own thing. We're not doing crowdfunding with anybody. We don't invite anybody. We do our own thing because we have the resources. I'm giving you that what we are doing. what we are doing, we are raising nursery and other palms. We are raising nursery cocoa plantations. We are raising nursery dwarf coconuts. We are raising nursery date plants. Why are we raising it for this first year? We are getting ready for the next year because government is not a diet, it's a marathon. The whole arrangement is Abia has 184 wards. Our plan in the next 2-3 years is to have in every of these wards at least 50 hectares of these diverse cash crops. It's not something that is just going to be that is skyrocket science. The communities will clear their land. They will provide under the security arrangement that is going to be put in place. The place will be protected 24/7. It's not where somebody. There are people that will stay in the morning, people that will stay in the night. So what we are trying to produce is to produce the bulwark. Like I told you the last time I came here, to do to raise a tree, one of those trees takes an average of about 200-300 naira from beginning, average cost. But in the open market, you get it for about 800, 900, 1,000, depending on the quality of the species.
So just to be clear, Doc, just so people are following. So you are saying like raise the nursery plant. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, the nursery.
If I raise them myself, I can do it for 200. But if outside is sold for 800, is that what you're saying?
Yes. And that is between 200, 300, but outside there it is sold for 800. And you can't get it wrong. Like I always say, the one I'm doing now is being managed by 3 people in 3 different locations. 20,000. Like I told you, we did 300,000 that was practically mostly destroyed. Now what we did was that we fenced it. We fenced 2 with wood. The other one was just with barbed wire. We have dedicated water supply. I spent on a weekly basis 30,000 naira worth of water because we are doing dry farming. The numbers are so easily, you can see it clearly. In 9 months, by June, July, August, we will be ready to transplant it.
That's your farm.
Yes, my own farm.
So the model is that you grow the nursery, then you transplant to your farm, and essentially you are investing in agriculture. That's what I'm hearing?
A state like an Abia state that is already another state, because I know that other states will emulate. It's a matter of we don't get somebody to kickstart the inferno. But a state like Abia state that is already looking at doing in every of the 184 wards 50 hectares of this, 50 hectares of this, 50 hectares of this. They will need loads of seedlings. Like for example now, to do a hectare of the palm plantation or the date palm plantation, you need about 150 trees. To do 1,000 hectares, you need about 150,000 trees. To do 10,000 hectares, you need about 1.5 million trees. And what they are trying to do is about 9,000 to 18,000 hectares. So let me tell you, if you go to even the nearest that is even doing, that's not even producing the kind of species that we are producing with Wema, NIFO. As of today, if you place an order with NIFO, you cannot get that order in the next 8 months to 1 year. Because they are booked in advance.
Okay, so Doc, again, let me again coalesce this conversation. So what I'm hearing you say is that if I have 1 million naira, I am in Jos, I am in Sokoto, I am in Abeokuta, you are saying a good investment is for me to go into agriculture, but the agriculture you're talking about is the nursery, the raising of nursery for these cash crops. Am I?
Yes.
Okay. And these cash crops are, can you give me these 3 cash crops again, just for those following? Which are these cash crops, please?
General palm plantation.
That's palm tree, yeah?
Yes. The dwarf coconut.
Dwarf coconut, yeah?
The cocoa trees.
Cocoa, I think cocoa, yeah?
Yes.
Cocoa.
And then you can also look at the Mexican red papaya.
Mexican. Is that pawpaw or?
Yes, pawpaw, yes.
Okay.
In fact, that one, That one, Carlo, if you have 3 plots of land that is fenced, that one is a cash cow. That one from the nursery, by the 9th month, you start harvesting.
Are these exportable? So if, let's say again, I'm a young guy, I have the 1 million. So of course, 1 million naira, and my father, I have some land. So I clear that land out. I go and buy the seedlings, I put in the ground. I have maybe 100 of those things, and they grow now. So that's become my farm. What happens? Do I export these seeds? I'm assuming that the person asked us will go through school on fertilizer, on how to take care of the plant and all that. But what happens? Is it exportable? What's the end goal of this cocoa and
the volume you have with 1 million naira is not exportable? But what is happening now with what we are trying to do in Abia State with the commodity board that is going to come on stream? So basically, let me tell you what the idea is. It's not a big thing. Now, the communities now are going to be producing in clusters, right? Mm-hmm. The commodity board it's private sector driven. It's not government. The only thing government is doing is to pass the law that provides us with the strength to make sure that nobody comes into Abia State and leaves Abia State with any commodity without passing through that board, right?
Okay.
It's very simple. Like I give you an example now. A ton of the cashew nut today sells for about 800,000 naira. The raw cashew nut. The one that is not shelled. A ton of the shelled cashew nut sells for about $10,000. And the 4 tons of unshelled cashew gives you 1 ton of shelled cashew. So, Carlo, with 3.2 million, you can buy unshelled nut. With about 2 million, you can shell it. That one is exportable at about $10,000-$11,000 at the FOB. So basically what we are trying to do here is that the man who is producing with 1 million cannot export, right?
Yeah.
We have people that will buy it off him at a good price. For example, now, traditionally, Olams goes to Isochi, to Utru, to Ihube, to all other areas where they produce cashew, and they give monies to very poor people in the communities. They come and buy it off them at 60,000 naira per ton or 8,000 naira per ton, and they make so much money. No, the state government is providing this PPP arrangement to give people. When people go to the farm to cultivate the cashew plantation, they have an idea and expectation of the kind of money they can make, devoid of anybody cheating them or manipulating them or using them as slaves. If you look at that, was the structure that they used to grow the Malaysian, Indonesia palm plantation. That was also the model they used in growing the tomato value chain in Italy, known as the Capado model. There's nothing we are trying to do that is a new invention. It's actually building on a model that has worked elsewhere.
Got you. Doc. So
the incentive, 1 million naira, the person chooses. I will advise anybody that has 1 million, you have an enclosed space, even your mother's backyard. You can do this thing. All you need is it's not even something that you even need to so much technology to do. I didn't that Greek science. All I did was got a director from the hut and brought in some people who are related to me and who are distant people. And the guy taught them. The guys managing these clusters, we are trained in-house.
Doc, is it also a good idea for the guy to sort of like get together? Like maybe I know people that go and watch Arsenal in football in viewing center, or people that are in church, or people that are in school. Maybe get together. So combine your 1 million naira to make it like 100 million, and then sort of go into this together. Yeah, Haruna, go ahead. Doctor Haruna is one of my very, very good friends. He's a farmer in the north. I think the north eastern side of the country. So I think let me hear his perspective. He has been listening to you. Haruna, please go ahead. You had a question?
I'm very surprised that he's saying that you can go into agriculture with 1 million naira.
He's saying you cannot. I'm the one saying that I'm trying to make him say you can, because I want more people to go into
You cannot.
I'm the one trying to do democracy. I'm trying to get a guy that really has a guy is working, he has saved up ₦1 million and he wants to do something with that 1 million.
You cannot.
But can he not invest in from a cooperative, a quote unquote, with his friends? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That is the arrangement. You can form cooperatives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And Doc, again, just to go back, where would he get? You said 9-4. Where would he get the seedlings from? I mean, if I have money,
you can get the seedlings from 9-4. You can get the seedlings from Weimar. You can get the seedlings from Sefapco. You can also get the seedlings from. There's a guy in Kano, Jafago. Jafago. Most of my papaya seedlings, the first papaya seedlings that we used to develop our own seedlings was from the Jafago. The guy is based in Kano. He's very good, very honest guy. I transfer money to him. I've never said anything to him that he never will beat to me with any issue. He does it regularly. No stories.
I mean, Doctor, I wish after this I'm going to hold you, sir, so you can give me these names so I can retweet it.
I will give you their contact.
Because I know people I'm already getting lots of DMs. People want to know about this. Haruna, a question for you. Doctor is saying that we should all go to Abia State to do this. I don't know if you joined at the very, very beginning, but is this something you think something that can happen also there? Because date palm, I was surprised that palm oil grows in the north of Nigeria as well.
It grows, yes, it grows.
Yeah, I thought it was only a southern crop, but palm oil grows in Kaduna.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, okay, Doc, so you've answered that question. Mba has a question. Mba, your hands are up. Mba Ifebuchi, please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Paulo. Doc, good evening from here.
Good evening, bro.
I am a farmer. I started farming from Abia State after my service.
Okay.
I started Graduate Entrepreneurship Fund with BOI. So I understand what it means for a young person to go into agriculture from scratch. Now, there is a lot of things we need to understand here. You can start farming with 1 million naira. You don't grow in a day. Growth is a process. I started small. Today we have branches in Abia State, and we have where we crush pampana here in Enugu State that we'll do in a bigger way. So you cannot tell a young person that he cannot start farming with 1 million. Cucumber, with not up to 1 million naira. Before I finished my service and I got Graduate Entrepreneurship Fund support, then I moved into catfish farming before we moved into palm kernel. And that is how we have been sector to the other. Well, there is a lot of young people to note when it comes to farming. You are going into a village to invest. And when you move into a village to invest, and you wish to live there as a young person who is investing a lot of money, is a different ball game. Because many persons may not be opportune like Doc to have contact with the governor, deputy governor, and rest of them. Unemployed Nigerians can go into agriculture and make money without waiting for government to help. Now, if you go into a community, like I started from Ugunabo. Doc, I believe you know Ugunabo local government.
Yes.
Yes, I started from Ugunabo to River. From Imo River, then Federal. We are now in Federal Road, and we are here in Enugu here. So, it's a village to stay. There is a way you live there.
Sorry, can we know the size of your farm that you started with, the land area?
Okay. While I was having, I started with only 6 plots of land at the back of local government, Ugunabo. If you go to Ugunabo, they knows me.
Was the 6 plots given to you for rent or you bought it?
No, one old woman, they give me free of charge to farm.
If it's not free of charge, so if it's free of charge, it's not a business, quote unquote. You get where I'm coming from?
So how did you irrigate it with 1 million?
Let me finish. As a youth copper, you understand? I was serving them. That is what I'm trying to tell you. When you are talking about irrigation, we are not talking about running into That is farming in the dry season. If you are going to farm into dry season, farming in Abia State is more favorable than here in Enugu. Because from that Osisioma down, almost every compound there has borehole. Almost every compound. So
which dam?
From Osisioma flyover, Loji, Ihe, down there. I'm from Enugu, but I serve there. I know there very well. I live there and I stay there very well. So to get borehole is 120,000 naira, then dig it out from ground. So it's very cheap and very easy. Besides, I did not say borehole because I already have a borehole.
Which borehole? 120,000 where?
Borehole 120.
At Uguna, where I was there.
It's not Oga is not possible. Oga is not possible.
I said while I was serving. Listen to what I'm saying. While I was serving.
Bros, wait.
Bros, we are professionals in this field. You know what?
Please, you cannot sink borehole with 1 million naira.
2016. To sink borehole in 2016 in Ogunabo is 120.
Oga is not true. It's not
completely far.
You know what I'm talking about.
My brother, please, you are talking to educated people, not illiterate.
Okay.
It's not true. I am not here. Listen to me, but listen, please. To move the drilling machine is to even move the drilling machine. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. For you to even invite a person that does borehole to come and look at the site, you pay him 100,000.
How much does it cost?
Let me help you, dog. See, I am not saying this to.
Are you using?
If you reach in Abia State, in Aba,
but I mean it's clear. But it's clear.
People at number one Ungwaru to drill ball.
No, but I think it's.
You what I know.
No,
it's not possible.
Yeah, I don't think
it's not possible. The person that will do the ball will do a study.
Maybe it was
100,000. It's not possible.
But could you clarify the borehole? Was it like a manual borehole? Did you bring a machine
to? It's a manual borehole. I said 11 to 15, 16 pipes.
So you got people to dig the ground with manual labor. That's with not manual labor. But that's not
they will tap water from another borehole and be putting inside. The sand will come out and they will dig it in a day.
So, Doc, he's digging manual. He's not doing machine. He's digging with his hand.
Then you buy 1.5 horsepower at Ungwa Road and put it and you suck out water. I'm talking about those who want to start with
Carlo, wait. Even to do soccer away. Carlo, I'm from the southeast now. What are we talking about here? When you're talking about borehole, Carlo, you have to dig the ground. I know what it's trying to say. You dig the ground
in 2016.
But hold on.
Let me finish. But listen, cool down. But calm down. But let me tell you, either in the north, we're not talking about Lagos. So we are not talking about Lagos where you can dig. By the time you do 10 meters, you will see water. We're talking. Listen. We're talking about Abia and Imo. Okay. For you, even if you want to just dig a space, where you will dig a space and where you'll be putting water. But listen, you will get people that will labor that will dig it for you. When they've dug the place for you, maybe assuming you decide to do it 10 meter by 10 meter by 10 square meter. You will need to plaster it and put concrete to retain the water. You will need to buy pipe. You will need to buy pumping machine. There's no way 1,000 would.
I think, Doc, let me put it this way, right? I think Mba is talking about the incremental, very, yeah. So, Mba, I hear what you are saying, but I think you have to understand that, I want to agree with you, but these guys are talking about agriculture as a business, and I think you are correct. But you are coming at it.
Do you know why I made this statement? I made this statement because someone with 1 million can start farming.
I hear you.
I know where I am today in agro business. I know how it started. Do you understand me? I don't want to discourage somebody with 1 million. If you use 1 million and go into cucumber, next year you are going to go into banana plantation. This is what I'm trying to say. Agriculture is in different chain and different value chain. You understand me? In different category.
Okay.
It's not what you do today, you will do tomorrow. One machine I'm using today is more than 5 million. When I started, I didn't even have a machine of 100,000 naira.
Good.
Mba, I hear you. Now listen, Mba, with 1 million, you say you started as a fragrance. I want to understand this. With 1 million, listen, you can do even 2 hectares of cucumber farm. Or even 3. With 1 million, you can do 2 hectares of rice plantation. Yes. Now, we're talking about capital outlay. For the 6 months you're going to stay for the cucumber or for the rice to be harvested, won't you be paying rent? Won't you be eating? Won't you be running other expenses? I want you to understand what we mean. See, listen, subsistence farming is not what we're talking about here. Carl is asking, listen, if you are doing, Carl is asking, look at the question. Carl is asking, if I have 1 million naira now, I listen to me now. Yes, 2 million naira and give it to Page Microfinance. Page Microfinance can comfortably pay me 10 or 12% interest, right? That 10% interest is actually a loss in my money worth. Because by the time you apply inflation rate to it, apply foreign exchange devaluation to it, you discover that 1 million that I invested, and which I received 1.1 million in 1 year or in 6 months, is actually less than money value. Carl is asking, I want you to understand where we're coming to. We are not arguing with you that 1 million cannot do subsistence farming. We are talking about 1 million naira investment by somebody. And the person is saying, I'm giving you 1 million umba. I want at the end of 6 months or 1 year, I want a return that beats inflation and beats devaluation. Maybe give me back 1.2 million. Let me tell you this, I will be honest with you. It's something that I've been involved in, both as a financier and we've tried it before. I'll give you an example. In Umunnuch, I will quote the community. We brought 2 groups. One was in Umunnuch. One was one area, I think around Umwa. It was one of my guys. He came to Lungwa. I tell you people, you can confirm. The guy provided money, just like this we were talking about. It was about half for them to produce 1 hectare of rice. But he will buy the rice from them and then go and process it in a milling plant in Abakaleke. What he will buy was the paddy rice. All the people he gave money to in Umunnuch never returned his money. The only place he got, listen, do you know why? It's not as if they ate the money. Either the rice was eaten by rodents or one issue or the other. The only place he got his money back was, I think, those guys from Umuahia. And do you know why? They worked closely with those Federal University of Agriculture Umudike. I think they did it in cluster in a first environment where they shared facilities like water, security, and all the rest of it, pesticides and all the rest of it. The truth is, 1 million can give you subsidy. But I will not give my 1 million to somebody say, okay, farm for me and give me back 1.2 million. I can only do it under an aggregated environment where we say, okay, we have 30 people contributing 1 million. In that area, you have enough muscle to mitigate some of the risks that will come against your business over time. 1 million cannot mitigate most of these risks I'm talking about. Like security. You understand?
But I hear what you. I have not. Hold on. But just I get, like I said, but both truths are correct. But I want you to understand the context of what we're talking about, right? I completely agree with you.
I have been following you from beginning. I agree with him. Yeah,
and I don't want us to argue back and forth. I think it's just to get the learnings. People are following us, and I want us to get to pick the learnings from what you have said and what Haruna and him have said. I think that's the point we should go on this for. Let me just bring someone else in here. I've got Mr. Adeniran Yeni. Mr. Adeniran, you've been listening to the conversation. They've been talking about Abia, Southeast, and all that. What's your take? Have you been blessed? What do you want to contribute, sir? Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. To quickly weigh in on what Mr. Dr. Obiora and Dimba were saying, I think the two of them are actually correct. But the context differs in the sense that agribusiness and basic agriculture are two different things. Now, Dr. Obiora is talking about irrigation, he's talking about security, he's talking about soil-specific fertilizers. Now, for a proper agribusiness, you have to put all of those things in place, which is going to cost a lot of money in the real sense of it. But the model that Mr. Mba is discussing might not necessarily need all of that, which makes it very subsistent. So when you now want to apply the principles of business, what Mr. Mba is trying to do might not be sustainable at the end of the day, because now some of the inputs that are supposed to make the venture profitable are not there. If you are doing farming and you are not doing irrigation, anything can happen. You all know what is going on with climate change. The rain can just stop falling, and when that happens, your profit is wiped off. So in the real sense of it, we are all advocating for the model that Dr. Obiora is talking about, where people are doing agriculture the right way. They are putting all the right things in place. Because you cannot, a farm that you've established and one night X-Men invaded it because there is no security, there is no fence, right? So we cannot continue to do agriculture that way. But the two of them are actually correct. With 1 million, you can do some agriculture which might not really succeed because some important things are not taken care of. While the person that is investing a lot of money, putting the right input in place might, have a higher success in that. I've practiced both before. The input, the things that Dr. Obiora was talking about, I also did it about 2 years ago, which unfortunately failed. I invested about 400K on that venture, and it failed. I did not get 1 naira out of it. And the reason was because I didn't put, I only bought the seedlings. Any other factors were not there because I felt like, okay, I can manage. I don't need irrigation. I don't need that. At the end of the day, the whole venture, it was a total loss for me. So the two are correct, just that the chances of success, or when you put all the right things in place, the chance of success is higher than when you just want to wing it, when you just want to do the subsistence method that our forefathers were doing.
Yeah.
So talking about the Southwest experience, I think there is almost the same experience everywhere. There's insecurity almost everywhere for farmers. I've consulted for farms where they had to relocate the farm because 100 acres, and every 2 weeks you find X-Men invading the farm, and they are not able to continue farming because it's becoming threat to the owner of the farm and the workers at all. So there is like a cut across factors that affect almost all farms in Nigeria. Insecurity, climate change is actually very real. Against what a lot of people have misinformation about it, but in the true sense of it, we have seen situations where we made plans, we planted, and rain refused to fall. Right, so that also is a cut across issue. We all know that almost every year now, there is this flood that occurs in the middle belt Nigeria that wipes away millions of dollars of investment. That is also a factor. But we now come to the question: what investment options are available in the agri sector? I think we need to disaggregate agri value chain into different chains itself.
But then,
one mistake yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I wanted to wrap up a bit. Just and your audio, if you could speak up a bit.
Okay, is it better now?
Go ahead.
Okay, yes. So I was saying that it is very important from an investment point of view to disaggregate the agriculture or agribusiness into different value chains. So one mistake that a lot of people have done in the past is to just invest in primary production, whereas there are different aspects of agriculture that you can actually invest in. One of them is logistics. If I have a lot of money, I'll rather invest in logistics than the actual setting up a farm. Because the cost of moving, not a lot of farmers can afford, moving their goods from one location to another. And that is where an investment solution can come in. So logistics is one of the areas where you can make your money. To move a ton of maize between the same states, the amount that you will charge as a logistics person, at the end of the day, you find out that you are even making more money than people that put that money to do the actual farming. So logistics is one area where people can invest as far as the agricultural chain is concerned. Another one is storage. Now, storage is a big deal for a lot of farmers, both commercial farmers, subsistence farmers. Anybody that can solve the problem of storage is really going to make a lot of money. Now, let me give you a scenario. You will realize that at some point in the year, you can get tomatoes. You can get 1 kg of tomatoes for about 1,000 naira. Then at some other point in the year, this same tomato can sell for as high as 5,000. Now, the difference between these price changes is just storage. So anybody that can solve that storage issue to make sure that there is an all-year-round availability of agri-produce is going to make a lot of money. So that's logistics, storage. Another one is the input supply, which Dr. Obiara also mentioned. Input supplies in terms of seedlings, seeds, those are low-risk investment options for agriculture. They are low-risk because you don't have to put a lot of things in place. For instance, you can be a seedlings importer. You can import seedlings from, developed countries, from Netherlands, and redistribute within the agricultural ecosystem.
Yeah.
You can also,
I want to make sure people are following you, because you are dropping a very important point. You said number one, transportation, logistics.
yes.
Because your audio is really bad. Number two, you said the seedlings, and then the number two is the storage. I want us to go with that.
Yes. Logistics, transportation.
Yeah.
And when you look at,
I have to cut you up. So your audio is very poor. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. I don't know. Your audio is echoing back. Is
it better now?
No. Sorry about that. Dr. Obiaraeri, just a question for you. When I'm in the States, my farmer here in the States, every planting year, they send her a tick book of seeds, and she orders the seeds from that book. Can I import seeds into Nigeria? Is it allowed, or those guys that sell you seeds, are they seeds from Nigeria or they are imported seeds? How does it go?
No, they are hybrid imported seeds, like the papaya that Jafago sold to us was imported from Mexico. And interestingly, we've actually, from the seeds, we've actually generated our own seeds. You understand? Matured papaya, we stripped it, took out the seeds, dried it, stored it, and now we are reselling it, and it's giving us the same output and yield. The last speaker was making very, very important points.
His audio was
He clearly understands what we are talking about here. In fact, the agri value chain is so huge. Like we talked about integration, the person that is doing upstream, that is doing cultivation, should be different from the person that is taking the person that is storing. Remember that, for example, I know we talked about 2 harvest seasons. If you cultivate a hectare of rice, right, and after 8 months, or after 3 months or 5 months, you harvest. Remember that the paddy rice that you harvested, you have to dry it, you have to store it. You're not going to process the whole thing the same day. There's going to be silos to store it while you take it to the processing plant where it is going to be processed. Then separate the rice from the chaff and the hull, and then distone it and all those stuff. So upstream is good, storage is good, distribution is good, Impure seedling is good, and that is why we need so much integration. And then off-takers of even the final consumables. You know, we talked about the consumer board. The consumer board is going to have a lot of warehouses across board. Warehouses where these things will be stored while it is being evacuated. Carlo, I took out time. I thought it was the former governor of Imo State that introduced me to what the Danish guys are doing in Côte d'Ivoire. The guys went into Côte d'Ivoire in 2006. By 2016, those guys were already exporting over $52 million worth of Cavendish banana. They've done over 1,800 hectares. They harvest, they process, they export it the same day. Have we bothered to ask ourselves the kind of integration and logistics that goes into what Kenya is doing? Kenya, on an annual basis, exports over $3.5 billion of vegetables, of fruits, of coffee, of flowers annually.
You know,
from Mombasa, Kenya, Carlo, to the nearest airport in Europe is 7 hours flight or 8 hours flight. From Samambakwe Airport or Lagos Airport or Abuja Airport to the nearest airport in the UK is about 6 hours flight. It's actually faster to fly into Europe from Owerri or Lagos or Kano than to fly from Mombasa. So how come, do you understand the integration? These are things that we need to understand as a country.
I think, Doc, in Kenya, they pick the flowers and they put them on the plane. The flowers would bud and bloom, and as they're landed in Amsterdam, the flowers are all bloomed. It's timed. It's timed to the minute, so that if you have a location where you have pothole or police demanding for bribes, it won't work. Everything has to work to the hour to pick the flowers, put them on the plane, land in Amsterdam, and sell them. But let me get Jason. Jason too. I'll come to you. Jason, go ahead, sir. You had a question or a comment? Jason too. Jason going once, Jason going twice. Ajogo, please hop in, sir.
I'm here, please. Good evening, sir.
Jason, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Mr. Kalu, thank you very much for all you do on Twitter. God bless you.
Amen.
Okay. Yeah, quick one. I work with the federal government. In fact, this conversation this night is actually a huge eye-opener for two things. I've been thinking in my head, okay, probably if I can gather 1 or 2 million, I can start something. I was thinking, okay, probably I'll just start corn, then add banana and plantain and cassava along the line. But with all of this now, to God, I am. No. Don't. So look at. And ultimately, my income. Sorry, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir.
No, go ahead.
If I choose not to touch my salary from January to December, it will just be around 1 point something, maybe 1.8 year, 1,080 or thereabouts. Way less than 1.2, sir. And I have been seeing agric as my excuse. Probably I can just gather something and just start. Not big, of course, but maybe 5 acres of corn and all of that. I was just thinking along that line. But this one, I really hope maybe the pros can help out. Thank you, sir. But, and Mr. Kalu, please, I'd like a recording of this. Thank you, sir.
It's always recorded. So if you look at my Twitter handle, you see the podcast there. It's on that podcast. It's on YouTube. So after the Twitter session, if you go to YouTube or the podcast handle, you get this recording on, and all past recordings are all there. But Dr. Obiaraeri, I want to ask you a question. The gentleman saying he spoke about storage, logistics, and ceilings. Can't I go into storage and the rest with my 1 million naira? Like, can we help Jason out? If Jason says he's going to buy GP tanks and store green and charge rent for the green, isn't that agriculture? Can't he do that with 1 million naira?
He's right. Even the sesame, Carlo, let me tell you, is like Jesse now, right? Can you hear me, Carlo?
Yes, of course I can hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you can.
Good. Like, he can decide with his 1 million, right? I'll give you an example. I have in Kebbi State, there are rice farmers
very honest rice farmers that you can go to and say, okay, I want to be buying your rice. You go to the farms. You know, they have their mills. Most of them have their mills close there. You can get 50 kg bag of rice for 38,000. If you have 1 million, you can decide to buy 10 bags. Then weigh bill it or put it into a truck and send it to your place. There are machines that where you can go and distone it, bag it, and store it in a very dry place. You can do it maybe in March, because the next harvest is March. By December, you can sell that bag of rice, destoned and cleaned out, looking good as foreign, for 55,000 to 60,000. But there's a risk. Where you store that rice must be so secured that rats or rodents cannot go there and help you out. That the humidifying system is so good that it will not start developing wafer. That the security is so good that one madman may not decide to break your window and carry one bag and start eating. So there are there are there are loads of opportunities across the value chain. But before you go in, you need to sit down, look at the risk, and mitigate it. That is why I always say, in most developed economies, or even developing economies where agriculture has become the mainstay, look at the issue of Netherlands. Netherlands exports nothing less than $10 billion worth of dairy products across the value chain. 1.6 million cows only. But they have 18,000 dairy clusters, employing 47,000 people.
Small Netherlands.
There are clusters. And the clusters are actually an agro-pastoral arrangement. You have cultivators of legumes, vegetables within that area. You have people that will take the animal dung, process it, generate methane gas, produce maggots from it that they use to do the magma feed for fish. Then the processed and the fermented poo is micro-processed and used as fertilizer. And then the feed that is raised under this arrangement, the waters are used also to irrigate the farm. See, agric is not something one man starts and said. That is why you see people failing over and over again. In these countries, they do it in clusters, each helping each other. The man who is doing the dairy is producing the poo-poo. Somebody is buying the poo-poo to process the poo-poo into fertilizer to produce maggots under a biodigested technological arrangement. Somebody is using the fertilizer to produce things. The man who, you understand, so is fully under an agro-pastoral arrangement. The problem we have here is that we do not have that rigor, that diligence, that intentionality, that discipline to sacrifice our greed and help people like Mba. Like Mba now, I'm so excited with what he has done for himself. But I can tell you, out of 20 Mba that tried what he tried, only him succeeded. He succeeded because maybe dint of exceptionalism or whatever. But do you know that we can actually raise 20 Mba under a cluster arrangement, mitigating all their risks?
I get what you're going. So just to close out for Jason. So Jason, I think like there's something you could do in terms of maybe storage, GP tanks, buying these things that go out of session. Because I saw something online in Kenya. It was like a small container, but it was refrigerated with solar. And what they put their produce of the seeds, not the agricultural produce was stored in that big kind of refrigerator thing that was powered by solar. I will try to get the name of it. And essentially is that these guys will buy the crops from market women, store it in that vault, and it's powered by solar, and the market women can come back there over the year and pick it up and sell. So instead of having corn season or rice season or maize season or mango season, they have this maize longer and longer and longer because it's properly stored. That's also agriculture, so that you can start off with. So even dung, if you have a guy, all this farm, you see cows all over Abuja, right? If you have someone who say, okay, pack all this dung for me, and you keep it, and you can basically use it and create manure, like Doctor is saying. Fish feed is very, very expensive. So there are many things you can do. That is also agriculture with that 1 million. I'm fighting for you, bro. So I hope you can get into it, because if you wait for your salary and try to invest it alone, inflation has already taken 30% of your salary. So you are starting off with 700,000. That's the problem you have, right? All right. Now I've got Ajogo. Please go ahead. I thank you for waiting with us, Mr. Ajogo. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for letting me in, and thank everyone for what you have been doing. For me, what I want to talk about is more like a question and also an insight to what I've also invested in in the last 6 months. So in the last 6 months, I got a proposal from a guy who told me about to get 10 hectares of land and invest in palm fruits, which I did. We didn't get up to 10 hectares. We got up to 8 hectares. Then we planted it. But fortunately for me, the problem we have with Nigeria is labor. People don't just keep to their words. I want to invest that kind of money, and you don't really. For example, what happened in the last few days? They're giving us reports. When I was there, I left Nigeria a few months ago, so I'm not able to go and check things out myself anymore. So we get fake reports. Like, then you send somebody there, they go see, you're a bit confused. You don't know either to continue with whatever they're giving you or back out. You cannot back out because you have already invested some money. So the first question is, how do you tackle this kind of thing, knowing that you are not around? And also, the second question is, when you look at the money that is going to generate from there, when I was in Nigeria, when I was told about the outcome, I was really excited. But when I look at it from this side right now, it doesn't really look good. Like, it's not really look like a good investment from what the amount I'm going to earn from it. So so the question is, what will you advise to do at this point? How do you manage when you're not around? How do you manage security? How do you manage to get trust? Make sure you are all these lies and everything are cut aside. And considering the fact that I'm no longer in Nigeria right now, this money is not what I'm looking at. It doesn't look good. Yeah, so that's my question. Let me not take too much time.
Doc, any insights?
Yes, my brother. You're not the only one that have had such ugly experiences. Even me that is in Lagos, Nigeria, I've had such. I set up one of the factories that was set up in our hands there, Obingwa local government area, was a massive factory. In fact, I even got some of my friends who were abroad to buy machines to install with us, a palm kernel crusher and pressing machine. You will not believe it. We raised money and sent to the guys that were supposed to be managing it. It was a very simple thing. Buy palm kernel, crush it. We have off-takers already who are willing to buy. They were reporting that they bought palm kernel. But I was the internal controller, as an investment banker, I sent an internal controller to go in there and check. At that time, he wanted to come. They would tell him one story or the other why he cannot be able to meet them. And my mind never went to the extent that, are they playing fast one on me? Within less than 1 month, we lost that 15 million naira. Because when after a month, even me, I was fed up. I had to force some people from Lagos to go and see what was happening. They told me that they've crushed the kernel, they've supplied it to the off-taker. I had to call the chairman of the company to say he didn't say any of my boys. Now, as I'm talking to now, 2 years after, the matter is still in court, trying to recover. So, these investments, the major problem we have in Nigeria is the issue of dishonesty and the issue of the justice administrative system. Somebody took your 15 million naira, somebody took your 11 million naira. You arrested him,
He quickly gets bail. Before you know it, he runs to one magistrate court and pay bribe and get injunction to stop you from arresting him on one high court. Let me tell you, it is pay for play. And your money is tied up. You're far away doing other businesses. Over time, if you're chicken-hearted, you can just say to yourself, let it go. And the person claps and laughs. You lose for the next person. So I clearly understand your worries. That is why I always advise anybody who is offshore that wants to do any investment should look at only cash crops. If anybody is telling you to provide him with monies without any guarantee. Now, look, what I do now is that you will not only give me guarantee, you will give me poetic check. At least that one, there will be no stories. And I promise you, I must jail you. Because
what did you call it again? Guarantee and what?
Protected checks.
Protected checks.
Protected checks.
That's you write checks in advance. And doctor, please clarify the cash crop. You said please clarify what cash crops are, please.
Cash crops, like he said, he has 8 hectares of land. Basically, what he will have done, he shouldn't even have involved. Just get professionals. Like I said, the guys I work with is in IITA, the hot. How many hectares of land do I have? Bros, I have 10 hectares of land. How many trees can it contain? 150 times 10, which is 1,500. How much will it take you to cultivate these trees and make sure that it is ready? You will tell me, then you will give me a post-dated check and a guarantee against my money. And I will have undertakings too. And when I think guarantee, there will be guarantors that will also say, okay, this person. Because if you don't have such in place, you will end up, like one of the things we do now is that the biggest guarantors you can get are the Christian Women's Fellowship. Any investment that I'm doing is mostly with women. Those people that will take care of the... I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you. I get the agri guy who will do it for me, pay him his management fee, either 1 million or 2 million. If he's going to supply me, the women group, whoever is going to... Because the women, what I do is that they will be using the place to cultivate their cucumber, their maize, and help me with it and ensure that the cash crop grows. In 3, 4, 5 years, by the time the trees are grown, it will no longer be useful for them to use it. Once the tree is grown and start producing, the next thing now you should do is, how do I secure that people do not harvest it? And how do we do that? Like the one I did for my mother in my village, cashew plantation. Because I didn't want her having the stress. Every year we do a tender. The youths who are supposed to be the ones that will steal it, they will buy it in the farm. And they will give me poetic check and they will go and harvest it. Woe betide you, you don't return my money.
So okay. So you do forward sales to the villagers, and
yes, forward sale, the plantation, yes.
So they already own it, so that way they can't steal because they are stealing from themselves.
Yes, they can't steal it. Yeah. Interesting.
So I joke. I don't know if that maybe answers or gives you a few pointers on how you can, maybe if you are abroad and you want to do business in Nigeria. He's talking about women group. That's using the women there, working with the community there. Protecting your investments, and all.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
If you point there, okay, got you. All right, thank you, Jogo. National, is it?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
National, how you doing? Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Yes, I would like to appreciate all the speakers so far for their contributions. I do have some doubts, or let's say some challenges with investing in agri-logistics. I don't know if to get a KK bus currently costs around 2.350. So I think that just exceeds our 1 million naira point of pick.
What if you come together with maybe your friends? You have 4 friends that you guys go watch Arsenal together. So you guys contribute, and you have a little cooperative together. That might be something.
Yeah, that might be.
It doesn't have to be new. Also, it might be. It doesn't have to be. A second-hand hires or something like that. It's something.
Yeah. Yes, very true. So we are talking about the Nigerian economy and investment opportunities worth 1 million naira. So I was trying to see if we could digress a bit and talk about NGX, because last year I would say, for instance, someone who invested 1 million naira 2023 January with Transcorp Hotel. As at December 2023, their profit was over 10%. That's 1.11 million. So I really think looking at the NGX to invest in million naira would be very, very good. And then again, we have bottlenecks when we have to look into exportation. So I really don't know how the government can make things easy for those who are looking to export agri products outside the country. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. On the NGX one, we had a guest last week and we went into the NGX in detail. He actually even gave us sample portfolios, how you should invest your money, not just NGX, even foreign. And usually we do this all the time. So we're trying to do an alternative to the NGX this week to say, okay, I don't want to do stocks. What can I do? I live in the village, or I want to have that exposure to diversify my portfolio. That's where we're actually coming from this week. So yes, NGX is very, very good. If you're a younger person, you want to do that as well. But we're trying to also give new ideas, where we haven't gone to in the past. I'm not sure if Doctor has any issue on the port side. If you want to speak on the port side, the blockages there and all that. I mean, it's apparent. Even if we grow the dwarf coconut and the palm and all that, if we can't export it, we're wasting our time, aren't we?
Carlo, do you know when we talk about this export and all those stuff, do you know that even the coconut oil is so expensive here in Nigeria that you will not even need to export it. It's even more profitable to sell it to the end users here than to export. The challenge we have is the issue of, like I said, there are factors of production. But the most important factor of production here is the human capital. Outside even the government inefficiencies, the issue of human fidelity, having the right people who will take your money and not tell you stories. Carlo, this thing we always say, our politicians are thieves, they are criminals. I always say to anybody who cares for this thing, a majority of Nigerians will be worse than the politicians if given the same space. And that is the truth. Because we see it in everyday life. People want to cut corners, people want to cheat you, people will not want to take what belongs to you. But there are still very honest Nigerians. Very, very honest. I'll give you an example. There was a time we decided, this we talk about logistics, you talk about storage. I hear it, I laugh. And let me tell you a typical experience, Carlo. Early this year, I and one of my friends, a director in CBN, decided to try it. Carlo, I bought a 20-tonner truck, a Tokumbo Fiat with storage facilities to enable me move yam from Benue, tomato from Boko to Lagos State. The first trip that we went, we loaded that 20-tonner with tomato. We decided to go to Enugu first because there was a market in that. That Enugu market, the tomato market is so lucrative. We loaded that tomato in Boko. Carlo, from Boko to Soka, we encountered maybe about 2 or 3 checkpoints. But immediately we got to Soka, you saw police checkpoint. In fact, the driver practically spent all the money he had. In his attempt to escape one of the police checkpoints, his Azu entered into a ditch and we lost Azu of that truck. And we lost everything because that truck did not get to Enugu until after 4 days. And all the tomatoes got destroyed. Carlo, the second one was the yam. That one we invested 14 million to move 3,000 tubers of yam from Benue to Aja in Lagos State. We got all the storage spot on, Carlo. Everything. We stored the yams. People were coming from mainland to come and buy it in bulk, distributors. The second night, our security men, I don't know what happened. They fell asleep. They brought a truck and carried 11,000 tubers of yam. They've already gone before the security men wake up. What they did on what happened, Carlo, today, we've not recovered that money. So you can understand these things. There are many things. And Carl, we ran the numbers. The model was so sweet. We are supposed to even double our money. We had security men in place, 3 at the same time. But we never factored in that security men can fall asleep. And the 11,000 tubers taken without anybody knowing at the end of the night.
Which is not. I get the starter and what you're saying, but I mean it's are human beings honest, or the system makes them honest? Because even in America, there are a lot of stealing. People go to warehouse and clear it out. But I think the impunity and the scale, maybe in Nigeria, is maybe what makes it different. I mean, you are talking about an entire warehouse of yams stolen. You know, where was it then sold?
And then, do you know what for it? You now go to police to lodge a complaint. Carlo is another thing. See, Carlo, when the justice administrative system is not there, there are times. Okay, I will now. Okay, like the one that happened in Ohanze. Carlo, I will leave my business in Lagos. Every 2 weeks, I'll be going to court. I'll be flying to Maya. You know what is the flight ticket? By the time I do it 10 times, I've actually lost the money on flight tickets.
True.
You ask yourself this question. But where the justice administration system is working, 2-3 months, you get your justice and it will be a deterrent to the next criminal. The same guy that did the same thing to us, there are reports that there are some other 3 guys from Germany that he collected money from. The same thing, and he ate their money. And you will see him driving around, going to church to go and give testimonies. It doesn't matter. That is the kind of country we run. Carlo, when we talk about foreign direct investment, I say it with every sense of responsibility. If we have a physical and justice administrative system that works in Nigeria, Carlo, Nigerians in diaspora can easily inflow $50 to $100 billion every year for investment in diverse sectors.
Okay.
Carlo, have you not heard a story about a guy that sent money for them to build a house for him in his village? And they were going to snap pictures of other houses somewhere.
Many times.
And the guy now comes back to come and see his house and goes to report. The person that did the thing will disappear. Police will say they did not see him. The guy will wait out. Okay, stay in Nigeria and I'll be waiting for me. 1 month after, the guy will sign and he will go back. If we have a system that works, where such person is captured, prosecuted and jailed without even him becoming a source of revenue for police, we won't be where we are today.
Gotcha. Ugochukwu, did you have a comment? You seem to be intrigued by the discussion.
Okay. Good evening from here, Carlo. Good evening, Dr. Obiaraeri. I don't know whether I should be grateful for joining this call today because I think I'm living here with some mixed feelings. Doctor, you have broken things down for a lot of us that are here in Nigeria. We know how things work. I joined when you were talking about your investment in EDA, or I think so, that you lost due to communal clashes. Incidentally, in the East right now, we are supposed to have a meeting in African community where we want to invest in 100-hectare land for palm plantation. So when I heard about EDA, and I was like, I think it's God that's trying to save me from this calamity. Because if I haven't joined this call this night, probably tomorrow I would have headed to Africa to go and conclude. So maybe I should just pack my bag, enter the next flight tomorrow and go back to Lagos. I mean, Nigeria is a place where it gives you opportunity with the right hand and takes it away with the left hand.
Exactly.
Everything you have said here is very, very clear. People want to make investments, but the investments are not guaranteed. I mean, one can imagine the kind of money you have spent making investment, even where you came from, and you are not able to protect those investments. So you can imagine someone that is not even from there going to make those investments. What guarantee does the person have? I mean, it's difficult, and I've said it all. If the judicial system is not top notch, and I mean, I went to Cross River State when I was looking for land too. Every kilometer you see, every kilometer you pass, you see people, you see all manner of uniforms, people crossing the roads, people blocking the roads, security agencies blocking roads, or uniform men, with all manner of things thrown on the road, collecting tolls. Everywhere is a toll plaza. I mean, how can you do business in those kind of environments? It's difficult, very difficult. I mean, what do? You can't, with what Forex is doing now, what other business do you want to do? They'll say, go and do agriculture. I did 100 hectares of rice farm in Benue and lost everything because of herdsmen. They killed someone in the farm. Everybody ran away. It was overgrown by weeds before the flood that came and carried the rest.
100 hectares.
Yes, we lost everything. They killed two Fulani killed security men in the farm, and then they killed one Fulani man, and everybody ran away. For 2 months, we couldn't approach the farm. In fact, when we even got there, that was the Benue Lower River Benue Authority. They had military men on that site before we went in. But when this thing happened, we're asking them what happened. They said, look, they can't do anything. In fact, they left. They left the place. So it's difficult without security, without judicial system that guarantees you results within a very quick period. I mean, there's nothing you can do that you have any guarantee. So honestly, it's quite tough. Like you said, if I have a lot of friends outside that are looking, towards, okay, what do we do? But when you look at the whole gamut of our system, it's difficult to encourage anybody to bring in funds because you can't guarantee anything. You can move in, but what do you bring out? You don't know. So honestly, I don't know. But Doc, I will speak with you after. I have spoken with you before on what I wanted to get from you. In fact, when I came in and I saw you, I said, well, this must be a very interesting listening. And as I came in, you were talking about what happened to your farm. I mean, how could people be that disturbed to go and burn a farm that is growing? How can someone do that? Why would someone do that? It's very unfortunate. But that is just that. Thank you.
Interesting, Doc. I mean, you do a 100 hectare rice farm, and it disappears, and we are wondering why inflation is 30%. Food inflation is 30% because there's no supply. No supply. So if we don't fix insecurity, I've said this before on the previous space to the president. Nigeria only has two problems. Only two problems. Number one is the export of crude oil through Niger Delta, which is the security problem, not an oil problem. Number two is the insecurity inside Nigeria, allowing food not to be created. That's why you have high food inflation. If you stop food inflation going up, interest rates come down. Why we cannot address this, I'm not really aware. Yeah, sorry about that, Ugo. Bad experience there. I mean, if you borrowed that money or that money was given to you to trade with, what would you tell the people? What would you say? So it's crazy. Tobe Chukwu. Tobe, how you doing? Ugo, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I just wanted to digress a little bit, but I don't know, it's kind of a question, but also it's an investment. It has something to do with investment, but it's not on the agricultural side. And I wanted to make, based on this current, the Bitcoin halving that is coming up. Why I'm bringing it up is because in 2020, I personally know, people that were talking about the Bitcoin halving and the effect it has on Bitcoin, and how the halving creates a kind of an artificial scarcity that then drives up the demand and the price of the crypto. So, and according to the this thing that the next Bitcoin halving is also going to be this year. You know, and the projections are really saying that it's going to ramp up the price, you know, just as it has done in 2020 and how it did in 2016, and you know.
Let me say this. Let me say this to you, Ugo. Toby, I get your question. Let me answer it this way. In finance and investing, there's a law called efficient market theory. What it says is that if everybody knows that the price of oranges will go up by 10% on Monday, then the price of oranges will not go up by 10% on Monday. Why? Because everybody knows. So if I know the price will go up, I'll buy it on Saturday. And if I don't buy on Monday, the price cannot go up. So this Bitcoin halving, the theory is true. But because everybody knows there's an actual date for it, an actual date that's going to happen. So what do you think the boys in Wall Street are doing? What do you think the boys in Wall Street, in Singapore, in Dubai, what do you think they are doing? They've taken positions now well before. So anybody that is going to buy Bitcoin because he says that the price will go to X or Y on a particular date, that guy is he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, because the price, what you are saying, everyone knows it. Yeah. It's not everybody knows what you are saying. That it's going to be halved.
Yeah.
And now there's a Bitcoin spot ETF. So somebody's going to manipulate that whole transaction. It will not happen the way you say it's going to happen.
Why I'm saying it is because it happened exactly the same way in 2020.
This is why they always say in finance, past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. They always say it in finance. I mean, it could happen the way you are saying. Don't get me wrong. It could happen. But can you take your house rent and bet on this?
No, for instance, when I'm talking from a big investment standpoint. For instance, personally, right now, I know some people that are investing in Bitcoin mining machines.
Bro, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not said you are right or wrong. All I'm saying is that efficient market theory says that if everybody knows the price of orange will rise on Monday morning, if everybody knows this, Monday morning by 9 a.m.
It's not that halving date, Mr. Carlo. That halving date is not the date it rises. That halving date, what happens is that those that are mining Bitcoin, if you're mining right now, you can mine at a rate of as high as 195 TH.
Okay, you are getting technical. The point I'm making is this.
Let me summarize.
No, hold on. We have to move on. The point I'm making is this. People know what you are saying. It's not a secret. That's what I'm saying. So efficient market says that if everybody knows what you are saying, then everyone's going to take a position. It's called dead man's gamble. If two of us know something, then both of us cannot make a profit off it because both of us know it.
I think you're getting something wrong. I'm not sure, but let me explain so that I know whether you're getting it wrong. Are you in your understanding? Are you saying that because Bitcoin is not that date of the halving is not the day?
It doesn't matter. Okay, what I'm saying that halving is going to happen in when will it happen? Okay, so but you know it, I know it, doctor knows it, everybody in Nigeria, US, America, Mexico knows it. That's what I'm telling you. So efficient market says, doctor, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows it.
Carlo, what he's saying now is like an anticipated stock split.
That's what he's saying. And I'm explaining that they make it look as if it's a technical thing. It's a stock split. It's a bonus. It's a bonus share.
No, it's actually because if you're mining Bitcoin today,
you are being technical, Oga. Oga, we know these things you are saying. You're not giving us anything new.
That's what I'm saying. Just hear me out so that you understand. Let me round up. You understand? If you buy a Bitcoin mining machine today and you're mining, okay, at a rate of 195, okay. On that day, the halving means that you're going to start mining at half of that 195.
Okay.
So every Bitcoin miner that was mining at for example, 200, is going to start mining at 100.
Okay.
That is what they have in
Okay, but what you just said now, I can Google it and I'll show you the exact same thing you said now with the exact same date. So I'm answering you by telling you that in under efficient market hypothesis, if you and I know something in the stock market or in any market, if you and I know that fuel price is going to go up tomorrow, you and I know it, NNPC knows, I know, then the price movement will not happen according to demand and supply anymore because there's full market information. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying whether the price will go up or not.
And Carlo, no one person has monopoly of buying the mining machine.
This is the thing now. Everybody, the boys in Singapore, you think they are waiting for you? The boys in New York, you think they are waiting for you? That's the point I make it to Michigo. So it's not a secret. Because it's not a secret, they will take positions.
Carlo, let me give him what is the secret. Are you guys aware that after the devaluation of Naira, that the top 5 banks declared over 2 trillion profits?
Okay.
What do you think happened? You think because they have not anybody? They got prior information. It was alleged that they got tipped off, and so they took positions against the Naira. If every other person in Nigeria knew that the CBN was going to devalue the Naira the way they did,
it would have fallen.
If I have an LC of $20 million, all I would have done was to look for the nearest dollar to buy elsewhere and liquidate it. But most people were not aware. They were still believing that the market will remain the way it is and trade out. But those who were aware, allegedly aware,
closed their position.
Now they are declaring $1 trillion profit, whereas the companies who are into real sector production, like Guinness, like Nestle,
negative shareholders,
like GSK, are declaring losses. So if the information was very open, Nestle will have liquidated their dollar position. GSK will have done that. But it wasn't open. So those who allegedly got the fillers liquidated. So when an information is open, nobody gets caught.
Tobe, you are still hands on your hands up. Tobe, if you Tobe, people are betting. This is the final last word to you. People bet. People do gamble and they bet, right? If you know tomorrow that Chelsea and Arsenal will play 2-2, you know 2-2 draw. If you go to the betting house, what will be the odds? 0. Now, so what I'm telling you now?
But look at this.
No. But let's go. Take it.
The effect of scarcity.
Take it. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Carlo, and excellent space as always. And I've been laughing and crying at the same time simultaneously, if you can imagine that. But I think a lot of investors here that are listening to space are used to that phenomenon. And listening to Oga Obiaraeri, the space and listening to him do not jive. He's telling us the opposite of everything this space is supposed to be talking about. And I have my own horror stories, plentiful. And somebody, Oga Haruna here can maybe confirm one of my stories of, investing in an agro business, hoping to yield more than 20%. But at least I walked away with 10% of my investment in less than a year. So I can at least be grateful for that. But sir, Mr. Emeka, if you can give us, apart from, give us some good sides of your stories, of your experience that are practicable today, that people can, investigate and see if they are brave enough to go into. Something that we can latch on to before we leave this space, because some of your stories are obviously not even close as bad as I have experienced, but it sends chills down my spine. And my logic is this, to understand where I'm coming from and why I'm interested in this, even though I'm in the diaspora. Yes, I'm in the diaspora, but I find myself in the last 10 years or more always spending an average of 5 to 10 million naira for multiple reasons.
And I said to myself prior to COVID, why on earth do I spend this money every time knowing that this bill is coming my way? Why don't I just put that 5 to 10 million naira in Nigeria? Let it be doing his work and doing something that will make sense. So by the time I say, okay, I need that 10 million or 5 million or 3 million for whatever reason I usually spend that money on, I can withdraw it from an investment I've made into Nigeria. That way I'm not worrying myself about exchange rate and all that craziness that goes on with the markets, and that's the way the logic is coming from. I have disposable 3 to 5 million every year. I always use the Nigerian space. Where can I put this money in and know that at least it will be there with some interest, so that when I need to use it, I can use it within that year? I've tried multiple things and they've burnt me badly.
Yeah, take it before. You can't do 4.
Let me share with you, because you are very, very correct. They are, like I said, it's not always a tales of woe. There are some good points. I will give you 2 examples. 4 things that you can do. Like I said, it also boils down to human beings and fidelity. Like, while in the course of my research work, this agri thing, I met one Chinese ambassador, and the guy told me a chilling story that shocked me. The guy said, on an annual basis, that they consume about $54 billion worth of pork in China. 7 billion comes from America. The guy now says something. He said in West Africa, I didn't even know that they have huge Chinese population in Niger and Chad. In fact, they say they have more Chinese in Niger and Chad than in Nigeria. That most of the pork that they import are from Brazil, not even from Nigeria. Now, the guy began to give me experience of what the kind of pork they need. In fact, they don't even allow their pork to be very, very old. 8 months they've slaughtered. They like the meat brittle. Pork is like their staple food. So I decided, okay. I asked him. He told me the Duran 78, the large white, the kind of things that we should do. So I'm always very adventurous when it comes to that. So we decided to set up to do 2 settlements. One in my village in Okigwe, one in Port Harcourt, through one of my very trusted relations. Now, the one in Okigwe was doing very, very well. We just got piglets. But of course, the piglets were responding well. We provided them with the water and everything. But that one in Okigwe, like I said, one night, some very hungry. There is hunger in this land, though. It's not as if they stole it, though. Some young men, I'm not talking about adult pigs. I'm talking about pigs that were about 10, 16 weeks old. They entered their butcher, some of the pig, carried the carcasses to go and eat. And they were even bold enough to write and drop and say, "Oga, we are hungry. We just need to carry the meat." But the one in Port Harcourt, which is a bit safer, the guy is making money. You know what it means? Minting money. Like the large white produces twice in a year, even sometimes 3 times. And when it litters, like it's called, it litters about, in fact, it starts with about 11 souls, about 16, about 18. And the demand for pork in the abattoir in Port Harcourt alone, they slaughter about 500 pigs every day. That one is very lucrative. And beyond even selling the meat, he sells the pig poo-poo. He digests it and he makes so much money from the pig poo-poo. And of course, what he uses to feed them are vegetables and then palm kernel shafts that are gotten from most of the palm kernel factories along that Aba and Port Harcourt axis. The second one was this same yam business, the one that we lost in Lagos. There was the one in Port Harcourt succeeded because there was a very honest girl, one Esther lady. She's a married girl with 3 children. In fact, one of my managers that traveled out to Netherlands packed one of our F-15 trucks with her. And she was using it. You could see the honesty. Her report was so excellent. In fact, at a time when she stored most of the yams, and she discovered that the yams were, not getting fresh as it used to be, she decided rather than allow the yam to spoil. She went to a milling factory and turned the yam into powder, yam flour, and sold it and made more money. Because she was honest, she was down to earth. You could see somebody who has character.
So, like the boy in Port Harcourt is minting money. There are areas you can go to, but it boils down to who is the person that is responsible for it. That pork meat is that. In fact, as I'm talking, there's a particular guy, a lawyer I know in Ibara here. That's what he does. He said from the day he left law school, that is what he does. He has almost about 2,000 of it. He sells the meat. In fact, the manure alone. What he did was that if you go there outside the town, he dug trenches where he washes the pig poo, ferments it. There's a machine he uses to do it and sell it as liquid organic fertilizer over time. Every day I see him, I say, "Oh God, when they are doing law conference, it does not go." He said, "I am not a lawyer. I'm not a pig farmer." The guy is minting money in Abara. So there are areas you can like that is an area that most people don't even understand. That pig farming is a very, very lucrative farming, but you also need to get somebody you trust. That will and the mortality rate is very, very low. they survive anything that can kill. Of course, you know there was a time they had serious issue in China. Their pigs were dying. The ones in Nigeria did not die as much.
African swine fever.
African swine flu. So later, when I was asking the guy what he did, there are certain things people do. The guy told me there was something he told me. Things he normally mixes for his pigs. The guy in Port Harcourt, and other things that he does for the that he has a better. But at least the guy advised him local herbs. That boost their immune system. And it is rare for you to hear that he has lost pigs to either this or that. So there are good stories, my brother. It's not as if everything is not bad. But I can tell you, the ones in my village was doing so well. Just like some hungry boys out of hunger, this unknown government went there and ate some of the meat. So I abandoned that one because you don't rear pig where human beings live. We took the pig pen outside where it will not, because of environmental issues. So there's another guy too. We gave 3.5 plot of land in Okigwe that is into poultry farm. He does poultry. He does Kelechi Egwim guy, like that's his name. Because I like mentioning that people you can always verify. The guy does poultry. The guy does turkey, and he's doing so well. So there are good stories, my brother. Everything is not all about doom and all those stories. There are very honest people in Nigeria, but the challenge now is getting those honest people, like the Esthers, like the Kelechis, and like the other guy to run things for you.
Okay, question for you: can I do pig farming with 1 million naira?
Yes, of course.
How would it work? Could you have schematics? How many can I buy? Can you just
Yes, you can buy like the Duran. The large white, we bought the large white 10. That was about 3 years ago. We bought the large white, 10 of them for 500k.
10 for 500k.
Yeah.
And I can't do it where people live. I have to go far away and do it, more or less.
No, you can't do it where you can. We don't even advise that.
Okay, all right, good. And take. I mean, when he started, we did ask him for specifics. That's why we talk about the seedlings. I don't know if you were here back then when he started. We talked about the 3 seedlings: the cocoa, the palm, and he gave those specifics. And I was always had it back and forth about if it could be done with 1 million naira and all that. So he did give specifics, but he then talked about his own experience. Just wanted to make that point there. Mayor Duke. Take it. Did you have you want to make it?
Yes, sir. Sorry, and definitely I missed that part, so I apologize.
Yeah.
I'll definitely go back and listen to the recording to make sure I get everything. Mr. Obiaraeri, is your DM open? Can people contact you directly?
Of course, it's open.
Okay, thank you, sir.
When you make all the money, please send us our 10%, please. Thank you.
I've been begging your friend Haruna to allow me to do business with him.
Haruna is a big man. Allow Haruna to.
Yeah, I don't have Haruna's money. That's the problem.
You don't have problem with take care. You will meet up, even if it is 10%. Take care is reliable. You will meet up.
Haruna, how is the farm? How is the farm in the Northeast? How are things happening? What's going on? Anything we should be aware of?
Nothing. You just thank God.
Yeah.
Security issues are getting a little bit bad, worse than we think of. We have encroachment of bandits, kidnappers. And then you have problem with security. There are some guy in the land. No problem, and so on and so forth. And we are looking forward to a very profitable farming year. With the little we could harvest, we're going to harness and make sure we have maximum return on our investment. We're targeting 70 to 90% return on investment.
Wow.
Due to the high cost of production now, the cost of diesel, cost of maintaining your plants, cost of security around the farms to avoid stealing and straying of cows. So all these things add up to it, to the cost of production.
Well, I have good news for you. The Dangote refinery has started to produce diesel.
Do you think that they will give us diesel at 160?
Carlo, the price will not come down. Carlo, let me tell you.
I'm just saying.
Carlo, listen. Let me explain to us why it will not solve any problem. Carlo, listen. Most of let us face fact. Dangote refinery will not even tackle the price. He can't even compete with refineries in Azerbaijan, in Kazakhstan, that are actually conduits for Russian diesels. He cannot compete. Will you be able to give this count of $100 per metric ton? Now, I'm not gonna leave that in a bag.
Well, let's wait in prayer. Let's do it in prayer and see what will happen.
That's what we know how to do. That
prayer are you talking of? Prayer. What of reality? May God help us.
Amen. I mean, because there's nothing else to do. There's really nothing else to say. Again, on Twitter, there's a sad case where crowdfunding for a man that lost his daughters are with kidnappers. You read that and there's something in you dies. I wish I had the money to give the man to get his kids back. But then I'm wondering that we're going to a level where the population is crowdfunding to pay criminals. The security services, they are tagging a senator. The army, navy, police. Kaduna has any security apparatus you mention in Nigeria is in Kaduna. Any. Abuja is the seat of the capital. So it's like driving from Washington to Virginia and you are kidnapped. That road, how long is that road from Kaduna to Abuja? You can't drive on that road. So all that bush on the side, you can't farm there now because you can't farm there. So a progressive nation would have converted that entire farmland on both sides to farmland so that bandits can hide.
Carlo, you're going far. Carlo, let me tell you, Carlo, you're going far. Carlo, we know what I told you. Carlo, you see that place, the space of land between between Abuja and Kaduna can comfortably contain 50 to 100,000 hectares of the hybrid date plantation. However, it's not like you know what I'm talking about. Clusters of 40 each. In each of these clusters have motorized farm rangers, 25 fully armed. Government is not paying them. Let me tell you, a hectare of date plantation after the 5th, 6th year gives you about 20 tons of date fruits. A ton of date fruit today is about $1,800. Go and check it. Even the price have dropped. From every hectare, you generate enough money. From every cluster, you generate enough money to pay the families. Carlo, if you have 100,000 hectares of palm plantation along that axis, broken down into clusters of 40 divided 100,000, and each cluster has 25 motorized armed rangers who sleeps there day and night. There is no bandit anywhere that will come close near that road, but they won't do it. They can't. They have no intention of stopping this madness.
The bandits want jobs. The bandits want jobs. If you
have an ATM that doesn't have a pin.
Wow. It's crazy. I mean, it's weak, because even now you go on Twitter, they said they've killed one of the daughters. I don't know, man. It's. I just pray for that man. I don't know how he gets out of this, but I assure you that because we've done crowdfunding, I assure you, and I'm just. It's sad to say this, but it's going to go up because they're going to say, okay, go and crowdfund for the next one they're going to kidnap. Mayor, go ahead, sir. Mayor of is it what's Mayor Duke, please go ahead, sir. Mayor, your audio is very low. Your audio is not that sound. Could you fix it?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Good evening, sirs. Good evening. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to listen to your talk, your discussions, and I've learned a great deal. Although I entered late, but from the little I heard about agriculture, it's really something. I'm very, very happy. And throughout, I've just been at the spot listening to you guys. I'm very, very grateful for that. Okay, so last year around September, I had some money on me. At that point in time, I was not working. I had good money on me, which I said, okay, instead of using that money to buy clothes and using that money instead of wasting the money, let me invest into business like agriculture, poultry farm. Of which poultry farm is something that my father really of which poultry running of birds is something my father really imposed in us. My siblings and I.
Yeah, me. I want you to go to the.
When we're growing up, he started by.
Mayor, can you get to the question if you don't mind, sir? Yes.
Okay. I put in close to 400,000 naira into poultry business and broilers and I bought about 40 beds and gave them quality. Their food were top notch. I was buying the best feed for them. The cleaning of their cage was done properly every 2 days, every 3 days. I ensure that the where they stay is always neat and aerated. Then their water was clean.
Mayor, what's the question?
I don't know. I just don't know. I had a loss on the poultry farm. I just don't know. I want to understand what I could have done better. That's why.
I'm not sure if I don't know if Haruna or Obiaraeri can help, but you know, loss means you have more expenses than income. Yeah. That's what loss means. So it's either just on a general level, it's either you didn't sell enough or you had high costs. So it's one of them.
No, my beds died. I think about 15 of my beds died.
Oh.
And they died at the point in time when they were about to be killed, like Christmas period.
So you lost. You lost assets. You couldn't monetize your assets. Yeah. That's a different matter entirely. Yes. You might want to bring in an expert on hygiene. Because hygiene of the farm, and you step on the liquid that disinfects your shoes, all that kind of stuff. You want to talk to really an expert that would come to your farm and advise you. It could be something you're doing and you don't know what you're doing. I hear you say it's aerated and all that, but you might want to go to a university, get a professor that understands these things as an expert. Take him to your farm. Spend that small money and say, this thing happened, my beds died, what have I done wrong? That I think is the best thing to do. So you don't guess again. If you're investing in this coming year, you have gotten a professional to look at it. That's what I would advise.
Okay, but out of the fear of loss of bed last year really gripped me. It really it hooked me. I was depressed throughout December. Even the Christmas celebrations, I was totally depressed.
Well, you're welcome, sir. You only fail when you refuse to stand up, right? That's what they always say in motivational talks, Abi. So even when you are down, you haven't yet failed. So only when you say, okay, I'm going to stay down, that's when you fail. So I would advise that, get expert help. What you have now is experience. Now you know what you've gotten this experience. So going forward, you are starting from zero, which means if you make one, you've made 100%. So start from there. Yeah, okay. Sorry about your losses, but you'll come back and tell us a good testimony. I know that. All right, thank you, sir.
Sure.
All right, Millie Shield, welcome. So we've got about 20 minutes left, guys, so I can let Mr. Obiaraeri. It's been with us for close to 33 hours. I've been asking him about the Nigerian economy, wealth creation, investment options. We've gone through a lot. He's talking about the economy of Nigeria. He's talked about the issues, the structural issues with Nigeria, why he thinks that we're not well set up. He's also given us his own take on where he thinks the government should focus on, and even where we, as if we have $1 million, where we can start to put more or less money into the this economy itself and progress. So Milishil, please go ahead, and I have a few questions on DM. Mr. B on DM, they're asking you a question. I'll ask you after Milishil speaks. Please go ahead, Milishil.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Nice to be here again. I've been on the space for about 2 hours. I've learned a whole lot from the major speaker, and I've learned a whole lot from all other speakers. My take here now is Nigerians that has liquid cash with them. Sorry to say, but I'm not sorry either way. You have to start looking at other countries where it's safe for you to invest your money. I want to tell you, I've been understudying Ghana for about 2 years now, the agricultural ecosystem there. During my study, I found out that there are a lot of Nigerians that are investing in agriculture in Ghana. One of the major reasons that they are becoming successful in what they are doing over there is, one, the currency is fairly stable. I've been studying their currency for the past 1 year now, and I've been doing comparison online. People will come around and say that, oh, Ghana redenominated their money. Yeah, they did redenomination, right? But if the currency stays at between 850 and 870 for a whole 6 month period, it didn't go as far as 10 or 11. Like Nigeria own went from, say, like 500 to 1,000 in the past 6 months, or 1,000 plus, right? So the currency is fairly stable. That is one. Two, there is no security issue in Ghana at all. I was watching a video from Ghana about 3 days ago. The Minister of Agriculture there went to visit a farm. I was checking for the outfit of the security that came with her. It was only one AK-47 I saw in the entourage. All other police were carrying pistol by their waist. That is security. In Nigeria, go and check our ministers or governor. You will see a whole entourage of security operative, those wearing suits, those wearing uniform. They may even go with them with armor tank and different kind of gun. That shows the level of security. And Ghana is number 2 safest country in the whole Africa as of last year, after Mauritius. Then number 3, Ghana, with my studies, they have a very robust export department that takes care of export of agri produce from Ghana to foreign countries. And the land over there, you can lease your land, say 300 Ghana cedis per acre for 5 years. You can as well buy, but the buy is like, if you are a foreigner, you buy for 50 years. Then you can renew. In Nigeria, it's 99 years for indigenes. I don't know how they sell for foreigners, but in Ghana, you can buy for 50 years if you want to do outright buying. Nigerians should start looking at other countries. Look at Kenya, look at Uganda. Then I want to say again that whatever you want to invest in, please spend a lot of time in studying. That is books, videos, YouTube. Do a lot of studies. Like the person that spoke last about his broiler,
what is knowledge bank like in raising broiler? Thank you, Mr. Kalu. You spoke about biosecurity. If your biosecurity is not good, somebody might bring disease from another farm onto your farm. So your biosecurity should be top notch. Thank you so much, everybody. I shared on the Jumbotron group of Nigerians that established hectares of corn farm in Ghana. They have poultry. These boys are Nigerians. They came from the US to Ghana. They did not come to Nigeria. They came all the way from the US to Ghana. I shared the YouTube video on the Jumbotron. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. And just to clarify, when you say look at other countries, what do you mean by look at? Just to be clear. Just to be clear.
Like me, in the past 2 years, I've been understudying the agricultural space in Ghana because I have the intention of retiring on the farm. So look at other countries means go and understudy them.
Gotcha.
You can do it online without having to visit. It was during my studies, I started contacting a lot of YouTubers in Ghana. I started contacting a lot of farmers in Ghana. I started contacting a lot of lawyers that are into property in Ghana. So it increases my knowledge bank about Ghana, that if I arrive Ghana today, I know where to go and I know what to do.
Gotcha.
So
good point.
You want to do, spend a lot of time studying it. Don't believe what somebody want to hand over to you that I'm going to do it for you. You're going to make a lot of profit. Nah, lie most of the time. Do your own independent studies, and it's not necessarily means that if you have 50 million, 100 million, you must invest it in Nigeria. I will not even advise any foreigner, any Nigerian in diaspora to take money to Nigeria to invest. Because, for example, I took $10,000 loan. I just use this as an example. About 6 months ago, I took $10,000 loan to buy a car to ship to Nigeria. Right? That is one of the business I do. Right? Now, the $10,000 was at 600 to $1 Canadian at that time. So it takes about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for the car to get to my house in Lagos, right? By the time we put this car in the market, we sold this car, we gained 10%, which is about 600,000. Now I wanted to convert my money back to Canadian dollar so that I can pay back the line of credit I took this money from. Guess what? I'm in debt of 2.5 million right now.
Sorry, I'm laughing, Oga. That's what they call exchange loss.
Carlo.
The guy who bought card is in loss. Doctor, please go advise him.
You see what this guy, the last speaker, what's that his name again?
Millie said he's still here. He says the best bricklayer. He says he's the largest bricklayer in Nigeria.
This thing you said now broke my heart. I am heartbroken. You see, now, Carlo, can you see? This is a young man who.
He's not young, though.
Carlo, whether see, old or young, this is a man. This is a Nigerian.
I got you.
Who loved his country so much. He took a loan that he wanted to. You know, I said this thing. You know, when we talk about diaspora remittances, $25 billion. I said, this $25 billion we talked about is chicken change compared to what the average Nigerian can do. I know a medical doctor. Let me give you an example. You know, after Roach has left as governor, Roach has used 26 carcasses to loot 29 billion out of Imo State. He said he was going to build general hospitals. He left 26 carcasses and took 29 billion out of Imo State. These guys are medical doctors. The guy that leads them is from South Africa. There are about 800 of them. Muslim, Bise, Owerri, Axis. These guys came. Nnaemeka Obiaraeri was governor then, before Emeka was removed. They came with a lofty idea. If you go throughout the whole of Imo State, the only medical center in Imo State that has some resemblance of anything is FMC. And FMC is nothing compared to anything you can see in any place that is decent. We got a group. I mentioned to you about one Israeli group, Elsmed. They supply hospital equipment to the Apollo group. Most of the places Nigerians go to India for medical tourism. Those guys supply the equipment there. And we brought an arrangement. They said in Imo or Kigwe, they will take one of those carcasses. They will take from Olo. They will take one from Owerri. These boys were willing to put down their own money. Imo State government value this asset. Give it to us. If you say, Rocha say it is 1 billion, but we don't think it's not worth up to 200 million. Value it. We will pay over 30 years. Provide us with security. We will turn each of these carcasses into decent secondary health institution that is better than FMC. The Elsmed guys are bringing equipment worth $10 million. These guys are bringing their own equivalent of $10 million. They're going to borrow this money to set up these hospitals, which they will manage with the Israelis in the most excellent. If I'm supposed to create medical tourism center in Imo State for the whole of the Southeast, I don't need to bring my grandmother or my mother from the village to Lagos when they have medical issues. Nnaemeka Obiaraeri was removed. Till today, nobody has raised that matter in Imo State. These are Nigerians, medical doctors. Another example. The same group of guys decided, if you watch, if you go to Owerri during Christmas, from December 21st till 3rd, you will never get any room in Owerri hotel. All the hotels are fully booked. Do you know those that book it? They are not prostitutes or people that want to. People live in hotels. From there, they will go to their villages because of insecurity. Some of these guys that are coming from Lagos, they are coming with policemen that they will pay so much on security. Now, we raised an idea on how we can develop what we call diaspora city. The people that were supposed to build it was these HFP guys, the guys that built VGs in Lagos and the Mayfair Garden. I took their MD, the Israelis, and their MD, Daily Martins, to my state more than 4 times. Carlo, what were they asking for? These guys, doctors, diasporas, we shared the idea with them. We developed a template, built 2,000 housing units, 6-bedroom duplexes. The 3-bedroom will stay on the first floor. The 2-bedroom will stay as a penthouse. It's going to be built like Banana Island. Excellently done. It will be managed for them. They come for Christmas. They stay in their penthouse. As they are going, the place will be turned into A, B, and B for them. Beautiful than any hotel in Owerri. And people will gleefully pay it because of the secrecy and everything it provides. Government was supposed to bring nothing. Very simple. Provide the land. We are going to compensate the community. It was earmarked to pay the community 2.9 billion so that they will be happy to release their land. If I tell you what stored that transaction, you will weep for my state. It was supposed to bring foreign direct investment of $300 million. The off-takers were there. The developers were there. The communities were willing to collect their compensation. But the public sector bureaucracy and greed. And that is why we say this thing. Look at the laws. If we don't amend the Land Use Act and remove the kind of bureaucratic criminality, if you see today, once a governor becomes governor, the first thing he does is he calls for GIS document of the lands in his state capital. He will start looking for where to steal money. The whole essence of the Land Use Act was to empower governors under the military regime or whatever, so that if you want to take land to do hospital and schools, communities will be compensated. But today, governors are using that law to collect land from communities to build their own private estates and do all manner of things, which is against the spirit of the framers of that law. So you see, this guy. Okay, look at what the man is saying. Take your investments out. If a Nigerian is telling you, Carlo, turn your naira to dollar and take to Ghana,
What is the value for Nigeria?
Sorry, sir. Sorry to cut in. I also have a small estate at Ikorodu, Lagos. I wanted to sell 2 houses within that estate to raise some fund for this journey outside. I listed those houses when Canadian dollar was at 600. I listed one for 12 million outright because it's still a carcass. Now, after about 6 months, that 12 million that's supposed to be like about $20,000 thereabout, is now less than $10,000.
I mean, I hear you guys. Guys, what
if I borrowed that money?
Yeah,
that I spent.
Crazy. We're getting to the end, Doctor. I want to make sure I put all this in before I let you go. So, if someone is asking you on DM, number one, is Mr. B willing to go into storage partnership? That's for you, Doc. One, are you willing to go to partnership on storage? Number two is asking what are the factors that hinder air shipping of agricultural products? And number three, is it profitable to go into this air shipping logistics for agriculture? So number one, are you willing to go into partnership on not just on storage? Let me ask you for everyone. Do you do any partnership? Number one. Number two, air transport logistics. What are the issues? If you can do that real quick, I want to get everyone that's here now to speak. I have IBF Farms, David, Frank, and all that to also speak. So Doc, go ahead.
Yes, we are willing to go into partnership as long as the person is not a voicer.
What does that mean? What's voicer?
Voicer, yeah. He didn't hear the story of the girl that crowdfunded almost about 5 billion from Facebook to do rice and grain storage. And
I know.
Your voicer girl, you didn't hear the story.
Yeah, I know.
And the Chimak guy.
Yes.
So we are willing to do such if the person is not a voicer or Chimak. And then the issue of the problem we have is at our entry and exit point. You know, like the person that spoke earlier, he mentioned that if you go to most of the shops in England, most of the shops in the US, you will see Ghana yams. It will shock you that most of these yams are actually shipped from Nigeria to Ghana. They truck them to Ghana and then export them through Ghana. The first time that we wanted to export yam outside through Apapa, the yam was producing, was at the port for almost 3 weeks because of the same bureaucratic bottlenecks. You know, so the challenge is not that we do not have capacity to produce things that can be exported. The problem is, like Carlo will tell you, if I load my container of yam from Ohaji, by the time I move it from Ohaji to Lagos, the checkpoints alone will have taken my profit. And then the agents at the port, by the time they are done with what they are doing, forget this country, just God help us.
So Doc, I mean, it's clear that there was a report done that planes and ships leave Nigeria empty. That is a fact, and the answer is really that this logistics and the framework in Nigeria is poor. That's a simple answer. Because I want to get you to just quickly allow other folks to speak. I'll go to IBF Farms, Frank, Mazi, Iscent Blue, and then we'll call it an evening. IBF Farms, thanks for holding on. You'll be dropping off and on, but go ahead, sir. Ibrahim Manex, go ahead. IBF going once, IBF going twice. I said Frank. Frank, how you doing? Ejiro Frank.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
How you doing? Go ahead.
Very well. Thank you. First, I want to thank you and everyone that has spoken so far. It has been an enlightening talk, or do I gently? I'm looking to invest. My question is direction. I'm looking to invest in Nigerian stock exchange, and kind of like I live in Delta State, and I want to be able to like invest via my phone without going to a broker. Because when I'm checking for brokers in Warri, they're located in a strategic location. I live in the outskirts of Delta State, so I'm looking for like a recommendation if I can get like a third-party app or a broker app where I can
I can give that real quick for you. So if you want to do SEC approved apps, I used an app before it was SEC approved. I still use them, nothing wrong with them, but I won't recommend them online because now SEC is doing registrations. But the SEC approved apps, I think there's Bamboo, I think there's Cowrywise. Bamboo and Cowrywise. Let me see if you send me a DM, I'll send to you Bamboo, Cowrywise. So those are SEC approved apps. You download them on your phone. You fund your wallets and you can buy. I know there was what's their name? I know Rise has bought them, but what was their name before? So that was their name before. Rise has bought them now, but they were also a SEC approved. I think they were the first to even get a SEC approval. So those two are right there for you, Frank. You can just download it and start to trade. Yeah. And Frank, most of the stock brokers in Nigeria all have online trading apps. CSL, Arthur Stevens, IBTC, AfriInvest, they all have trading apps. So even if you go to Nigerian stockbroker site, Mary Step, you can still buy and sell just downloading the app. So you don't have to really go and get an app per se. You can still also buy an app and all that. Yeah, so that helps.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, Mazi Ezewa, how are you doing, sir? Go ahead.
Thank you, Carlo. Firstly, I'd like to just thank everybody that made it to this platform to share their wonderful experiences. I just have a couple of suggestions, but before I talk, I'd just like to address Mr. Mill, the guy that does the bricklaying stuff. Generally, I'm not an economist, but I know it's a bad idea to borrow money for some kind of import and export business. Given the economic climb we are facing currently in Nigeria, the fact that the dollar is currently losing value, the naira is currently losing value against the dollar, it wouldn't be a wise decision to get forex, foreign currency, bring it back into Nigeria to do business with hopes of converting it to dollar. Do you understand? Anybody that's going to invest in Nigeria for the diaspora, you should actually get that off your mind that you, at some point in the nearest future, converting your naira to dollar. If your investment or your business is going to involve being such, I would just advise you to not do that.
Okay.
Do not do that.
Yeah. Sorry to cut him. I want to let you know that I only use that as an example.
No, I was referring to Mr. Mill.
Hold on. Let me ask you, all those multinationals that come into Nigeria to invest in one particular sector or the other, where do you think they get their money from? Loan. It's not family inheritance. Loan. They get bank loan. And that is the reason they are leaving, because they cannot convert their money back to the currency to go pay back those big loans.
All right.
All right. What was your question, Mazi? Really quick.
Not really a question, actually. It's more of a question and a suggestion as well. It's just, we know we're talking about investment, wealth creation, and investment options. Right. So, I studied in Russia, basically, just to give you a brief history about me. I studied in Russia. I currently live in the UK. What I would say is this, right? We need to look towards majorly exporting stuffs. Do you understand? Exporting products. A couple of speakers in this group have already mentioned agriculture, which is one. But as we all know, insecurity is currently affecting that. And the next area I'd like us to focus on, or like us to think about, is mining. Currently in Nigeria, majority of people mining in Nigeria currently are Chinese people, foreigners. You know what I mean? So if Mr. A in this group has 1 million, Mr. B has 2 million, Mr. C has 4 million. We can all come together, like one way or another, look for solid minerals at that you can actually venture in with a minimum amount to start off mining. And then, of course, when you know that when you do mine, the next thing you have to do, you have to export and bring in forex. So the only business I would advise any Nigerian looking to invest in Nigeria will be think towards something that you can actually export and earn hard currency, so that when you put in your money, whether it's from the diaspora or whether it's within Nigeria, you know that what you're going to be earning is what's called foreign currency. And from Ebonyi State, I'd just like to mention quickly that they are currently mining tin and lead as in unrestricted. You understand? Some of the people engaging in these mining activities have no license. and then it doesn't really take much to start up. Even if you go to a state governor for a legitimate license, they would issue the license without even wasting time. You understand? So let's look what's mining. Yeah, agriculture is actually like another one, but insecurity is really, really affecting it. I can guarantee you that when you get into mining, your business is more or less safe due to the fact that state government will be involved to an extent.
Mas, I hear you, but I even think mining attracts more insecurity than agriculture. Mining in Nigeria is a very, very dangerous business. Very, very.
Depends on the area. In the north, yeah, there's insecurity in the north, but in the south, no.
Okay, no worries. I hear you. Good call. We're going to have to do something on mining specifically on that for us to actually capture that. But I think, guys, we're almost at the end. Doctor, you've been here for nearly 3 hours. Good stamina. What are your closing thoughts as we wind down now?
My closing thought is that we are not leaving Nigeria for anybody, and we're not walking away from here. We will fix this land, and that is the truth. This issue of dollar, losing value, shouldn't have been so. I will take us back from 1999 when Obasanjo became president. Obasanjo inherited a worse Nigeria than Buhari or any other person. Exchange rate then was at what rate? Was about 88 naira to $1. That was what Abacha left behind. When Obasanjo handed over to Yar'Adua in 2007, exchange rate was 124 official. Black market was 126. Naira to $1 lost almost about 40-something naira to $1. Jonathan took over 124 black market official rate, 126 black market, and left after how many years? Official market 197, black market 199. Dollar to naira lost 78 naira to $1. This madness we had today happened under Buhari. Buhari totally destroyed the foundation of this country, working with the very pliant and docile and compromised Emefiele. In fact, this country was totally destroyed by Buhari, Emefiele, and the political actors across board, not APC, not PDP. Because we were practically not producing enough dollar, enough things to export, goods and services. Even the diaspora that were even helping us stopped inflowing money, stopped coming because of insecurity. And the naira is losing values because we are not producing enough, we are not exporting enough to be able to earn enough dollar resources to take care of our imports. And we can only do this when we fix the foundation. We are not losing hope. Like I said, Abia State is giving me hope. LXOT is tackling the insecurity. And let me tell you this, anybody waiting for the federal government to fix insecurity is deceiving you. P2B was governor for 8 years. For 5 years, Anambra was the most secure state. He did simple thing. 177 autonomous community. Give me your best children. He provided them with trucks, with guns, with every community in Anambra was gated. And they chased away all the criminals, including even the kidnapper. They shifted him to first stack in Lagos State. LSOT is adopting the same principle. And I want us not to lose hope. We will keep on investing. I am going back to Abia State to invest. And the promise we have made that over the next 3 to 4 years, we will invest not less than $2 billion into Abia State. Across the agri-value chain. And I will come back to Kalu's Twitter space to share the good news of the mega harvest and mega profit. Because we have a responsible governor who is willing to stake his life, stake everything, to ensure that he brings his people out of trouble. Go and watch. The only place you have insecurity now is part of Anambra and part of Abia that is collocated to Imo State. But LXOT has nipped that part of Imo and Abia through Lopa. If you go to Abia today now, go to Aba, the street lights are working, the roads are being done, policies and programs are being put in place. And I'm very, very sure other state governors will keep on implementing. We shall keep on talking. We shall keep on advising. We shall keep on begging. I am very, very sure one day God will touch them. They will restructure this land, but we will not give up. I am not taking my money to Ghana.
or to Liberia or to Sierra Leone. I will invest my money here in Nigeria. We will keep on sowing. Isaac came to sow in Gerar. The first place he went to dig his well, they fought him. He lost his investment. He left there. The second place, they fought him. He left there. The third place, he had peace. He called it Rehoboth. At a time when everybody was doing jackpot, he sowed in that land and he reaped 100-fold, 10,000%. That will be our story in Niger State. I will keep on, as long as I have life in me, I will keep on investing in Nigeria.
Okay.
This country will be fixed and we must fix it.
Amen. All right, Doc has gone fully motivational and spiritual, but he has backed it up with the economic. You have to invest where you know Nigeria is a fertile land. I endorse the sentiment 100%. Thank you all for joining me this evening. 3 hours spent talking about many things about Nigeria. I appreciate you all. I can only say I wish you guys the very, very best this coming week. Go out and make it happen. Thank you, Doc. Thank you to all the guests that have spoken. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. Bye.